There we go. Now let's see if I can get it to orientation is locked, rotate device. Alright, maybe it'll work now. What you said. Alright. Alrighty. Maybe we can get set up here and let's see what's going on. Let's see. Where am I? Remember how to do this. Oh, Lord. Live. Go there. Here we go. Okay. All right. There we go. Let's see if we get some people to join in. I didn't advertise this big time. But maybe we'll, hello, Blessed EDC. How are you doing today? I hope you are blessed. Let me get this thing turned down. There we go. I wish I could hear y'all or see you on video. That'd be a lot cooler. We could just sit and have conversation. I would really enjoy that. See if we get a few people to join us and hang out. I thought I would come and do a little live hangout video. I know that Wyvern Kodiak, they come on about, let's see, about 8 Eastern, I believe. I'm on Central, so about 7 my time. So what I tried to do last time was schedule this so that I could do a couple of hours, not be in a big rush, and get off by the time they were done, or they were ready to go on. And we ran a little bit over. I really should do this either a little earlier or something, because I don't want to step on them, because they're good buddies. I don't want to mess with their time, you know. Although they go pretty late. So if you miss a little bit of their beginning on Wyvern Kodiak, it's not that big a deal. Although sometimes they're having guests and stuff. And so I like to get over there and watch their interviews and everything too. Darloper Domo. Is that how you say that? Darloper? Any relation to Domo Origato? I've got a lot of things to figure out and learn. Like Chris over at Unprofessional Dad, he's like, I still don't know how to put another video on the screen, and I've got to figure that out. I've looked into it, and it's a little bit more involved than, you know, of a thing. But I want to be able to do interviews, and so I want to be able to I want to do in-person interviews and shine a spotlight on a lot of the people that are out here doing good things and cool things, creating. And so, I mean, on this channel, of course, it would be sort of more like knife makers, knife stores, knife YouTube people, and or you know, just hunting people. And I know a lot of people in the hunting industry and professional fishing and stuff, and just get people on, and I want to learn about their lives, help shine a spotlight on guys that are doing really cool stuff. And I'm supposed to go this week, and it may not work out right now, but I'm supposed to go and talk to TKL Knives and Tim and China and um, Tim's wife. Um, and then I'm working on doing the same with McNeese because they're relatively close, within an hour, 2 hours, you know. And then E-Knives is pretty close to me, and Pete's Pirate Life is close. Um, oh, darn. I always forget their name, and I love them. Somehow I forget their name, over in Chattanooga. God, they just had a big knife release the other day that was so cool. I never had the money when people drop these cool knives. Um, but um, I want to I want to shine a light on these people because, like, we'll just go with TKL right now. They're Christian people and just good people. And Tim had some really cool ideas that stem from his military service and some things like that. And going, I want this kind of knife, and nobody makes it. And I'll just make my own knife. That's how he got started. And so I want to go like and help tell that story, which, you know, I know there's but pieces of it here and there. I didn't turn my lights on. Hang on a second. Get me a little bit of light on the situation. Well, I had bought a couple Olight little lamps months and months ago, and I was like, I had an idea for them, and then I was like, yeah, they're not really exactly like for that. They've kind of got like a mood light at the bottom that you can change colors, and then they've got a bright spotlight at the top. That's a little magnetic light you can take off, and it's a little light. Like I kind of thought I had them by the bed, and you could get up and just. I was thinking they'd maybe be touch, and so I could just get up and touch it and come on, and then take this little guy and to go to the bathroom, you know, and not have to turn all the lights on and stuff. And it turned out that they're not perfect for that because they're not really a lamp. They're a spotlight with a little mood kind of light. And so then I started doing video, and I was like, man, I need light. I've got a light above me, which is in video production and music and stuff. You know, there are kind of rules of the road, and one of them is for light to be 45-degree angle above you, and it creates some shadow, but gives you a good lighting effect. And then so I have them lamps, and they kind of give me a little bit of brighter light anyway. Um, Blessed EDC, yes, you do need to start your own live. Um, you really should, because I've learned a lot from Chris. Well, in watching people like Metal Complex and stuff, but then from people that I kind of got to know, like Chris and Rob and some others, and um, and there's plenty of room. There's plenty of room at the table. I don't think I've heard a lot of them say that. DVD EDC with DVD, he's one of them that'll say, "Man, there's plenty of room for all of us to do this stuff." So I say, heck yeah, yeah. I've got a cousin that's like, I think I want to start doing YouTube videos, and I was like, you absolutely should. He is a football fanatic and a Miami Dolphins fanatic and Georgia Bulldogs. And I'm like, that's what you know. You should do videos about it. So I'm going to try to get him, help him get set up doing it. Because, man, there's a lot in the beginning that you're like, I don't even know. How do you do this? How do you do that? And there's a lot of study involved. I really planned for like almost a year trying to, where I would kind of know what I was doing, you know. I've spent time in front of people all my life, playing music and telling stories and just and doing things, um, and living histories and Civil War stuff, and so just talking to people is no big deal. But but all the technical aspects, I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to be proactive, you know, and um, at least kind of know what I was doing without just jumping in with no clue, you know. Hey, S. Whittle, what you doing today? And yeah, Blessed said he watches all of those guys, and more. Right? I stumble around and go, oh yeah, I forgot about him. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Then I found one today that I was like, I want the information this person is trying to supply, but the cursing and stuff, it just gets out of hand. You know, when the F word starts flying out, then I'm like, oh, I'm gone. I've moved on past that part of life a long time ago, and I don't know that I was ever terrible about it, but when I moved to Alabama years ago, and I got away from all my old friends. And then after all these years and kind of getting in contact with people and, you know, them finding you on Facebook and stuff, and I'm like, I'd get on the phone with them on speakerphone. And so my wife's standing right there. And I mean, it would just be F word after F word after F word. And I'm like, that is fine. You can talk any way you want to. But I'm gonna turn my phone speaker off, right? And I mean, they're my friends, you know. I'm not gonna freak out on them. That's a big mug. I keep that so I have water all the time. With all the medications that I take, man, my mouth stays dry. Keith Lamb, howdy, buddy. That's my cousin Keith. He's what I was just talking about. That I want to help him get a channel up to do probably football content. I think he'd be great at it. He's, you know, you kind of need to be passionate about something. If you're just going to get on a video or Facebook or whatever and talk about it, you need to be kind of passionate and knowledgeable about what you're talking about. I think that's my opinion. And when we were growing up, I was the go out and do it, kind of hunting, fishing, knives, guns, that kind of thing guy. And Keith was about getting in the backyard, playing football, watching football, you know, sports. And we had music in common. And his brother, my not oldest cousin, there's 7 of us, and Keith is just under me. His brother Ricky's older than me. And so he had records and stuff. He was the first person we knew that got a VHR. Well, it was a beta. So made the wrong choice there. But he would take us to the movies because he could drive, and it was just awesome. And I got a lot of musical taste from him because I listened to country music and stuff. But then, I mean, he introduced me to Foreigner, Bad Company, Blondie, all kinds of stuff. And of course I loved Charlie Daniels, Leonard Skinner, all that stuff, just naturally, even as an 8-year-old, you know. Yeah, fishing too. But we call Keith Sneefy. I call him Sneef. My cousin Janet calls him Sneefy, and they call me Boone, and Daniel Boone, and my cousin Janet, she's Miss Lynn, because her name's Janet Lynn. So we all had nicknames, and Keith he went fishing a lot. His dad took us fishing a lot, But that was sort of my core. My dad, he was a big time hunter, fisherman. I was talking to my cousin Ray the other day. He's my dad's first cousin, so he's my second cousin. He's in between my dad's age and my age, so he's probably 10 years older than me, probably 10 years younger than my dad, you know. So when my dad, he was telling me a story about first time he ever shot a shotgun that my dad made him shoot it. And oh, Keith said Pop gave him the name Sneefy. I did not know that. I thought Janet did that. And it's probably just that we were little, right? We were just little. And it's probably that I just heard Janet calling him that and thought, oh, she named him that. I just associated that. I did not know that. Pop gave me the name Boone, too. And Daniel Boone and his little Georgia boy. Because we lived almost in Georgia, and my pop was from Alabama, but grew up in Georgia, South Georgia, almost in that corner on the line. Our family founded Cottonwood, Alabama, and so way back in the 1800s, and so, oh, I got one of my 9mm shells laying there. I didn't remember putting that back in my gun. But Sneefer. He said he called him Sneefer. And Janet probably changed it to Sneefy. I just changed it to Sneef. I've had every kind of nickname you can imagine: Spaniel, Spanjuel, Bulldog, Boone. All my family's Boone. And the Bulldog Smith Farms thing comes from the fact that my dad's nickname was Bulldog Smith, Bulldog. And I was raised with bulldogs, pit bulls mostly, and pit and cur mixed, hog hunting dogs, and hound dogs, deer dogs, rabbit dogs, coon dogs. And we had 2-layer pen across the back of our yard with dogs, all hunting dogs. And my dad was like, if they don't earn a living, they don't eat. They don't live here if they don't earn a living. So all our dogs had work to do. They chased something or caught something. So I was raised with bulldogs, and just my dad's nickname being Bulldog. So, he wore anything that said Bulldog on it, Georgia Bulldogs, anything like that. And Keith, was that you telling me that your dad gave you that bulldog hat of his? Because I've got a lot of pictures of my dad in that hat. It was one of the hats back then when they first come out that had the foam, the 3D kind of foam design. I'm pretty sure on that one. He had a lot of them. But that one I specifically remember. It's a beautiful hat. Just FXT. How's it? He said, how's it going? I'm going to tell you all the truth. And look, I don't want to. I'm an oversharer. And so I've learned to try to not just overshare, to TMI, But I've been going through some stuff, and it's been kind of rough, family stuff, and so I kind of disappeared a little bit because I was having a hard time wanting to do anything and just overwhelmed with everything that's going on, and I'm Kane Miranda EDC, brother. Prayers appreciated, y'all. If you need prayers, put them down here. You know somebody that needs prayers, put them down here. Because I'm telling you, I will. And the people in this community, y'all got me through some hard stuff with my body trying to murder me for the last 2.5 years. And I'm in the best shape I've been in decades. I just did what is it? The one that's like a sonogram of your heart, cardioelectrogram, I think. And yesterday, a month or so ago, I got the best report in a 2-day period, I saw my heart doctor, my kidney doctor, because I have kidney failure too, and I have heart failure, and my diabetes doctor, and got the best reports. All of them were just glowing. And so praise the Lord for that, right? Because I went through some time. I wasn't allowed to get out of bed for months and months. Had to do rehab. Come that close to death. I've about died 6 times. So I worked myself to death is kind of what happened, and I broke my body, and I've been paying for it for a long time. But the Lord has always been there in it with me, giving me strength, encouraging me, giving me reasons to live, like whispering that little girl, my daughter, needs you. And she don't think she does right now. But that is having to do some tough love. And with hopes that it'll wake her up and set a fire under her to start achieving something and doing right. And especially by her faith. That's really the most important thing in the world to anybody, is being faithful to the Lord. And that's kind of hard work. But so I really going through some stuff. And I'll tell you, when you're going through some stuff, and I have another channel called DannyLink's Calling, like I'm calling you on the phone. My middle name's Link. Another nickname. And so it's DannyLink, my name, and calling, like calling you on the phone, but it's my biblical calling, and which has to do with current events, end times prophecy. My cousin Keith on here, Sneef, and Sneef, his mama was a Bible scholar. I mean, she was in it. She was reading it. She was making notes. She was writing commentaries on the Bible. And I want to get my hands on some of them, maybe just one or two at a time. So I think there's books there that could be published. I encouraged her to publish books, but that wasn't her calling. Her calling was to study it, learn it, talk about Jesus. And she was on fire for the Lord. She was she'd give you goosebumps. She would get goosebumps talking about Jesus, and just get so excited about Jesus. And when you're a kid, maybe you don't completely get that, but there was something about her and about the things she was studying that spoke to me. And she told me at one time, as I said, "You've been studying this your whole life," and she said, "No, baby, you think I've been studying this my whole life because it's been your whole life." She said, "But I was about 40 when I read a book, and it was by Pastor Hagee, and about the end times and how Israel became a nation in 1948, and it fulfilled biblical prophecy and all this stuff." And I was like 10, and there was many times where Keith, our buddy down the road, there was a church down the road, and the preacher and then John was their son, and great guy. Man, is that a great guy. All of them. I love all of them. But Keith was way more close to him than I was, because he lived right there his whole life. And we moved all the time. I lived on the farm for a long time, and they lived in West Palm, where I was from. And so they Aunt Joyce really had effect on me. And a lot of times John and Keith would be outside playing football or whatever, and I would sit at the table with my Aunt Joyce and ask her questions about what she was studying in the Bible. She would be sitting there with the Bible in a tablet, a notebook, and a pen, and she'd be studying and writing her thoughts, journaling, and and so and keep. I don't know that he even knew this when we were young, because they're outside playing, they're having fun. They were a little younger than me, and so there was I got there and played football with them too. I remember coming home from the Philippines, medevac from the Philippines, and my arm was in a dang sling that had my collarbone just pulled down, and trying to throw a ball. I was like, I can't do it. Um, and I want to see what this says. Y'all saying hi to each other. I love that. Marco, hello. My cousin Keith said, yep, I was telling you about that hat my dad gave him. That hat that he gave me said, how about them dogs and birds? It was a black hat. Oh, okay. That's a different hat I'm thinking of. And you probably could picture it, Keith. A red bulldog hat with a bulldog face on the front. Georgia Bulldogs. That my dad wore a lot. And I wish I still had that. I don't know what happened to that. I kind of have an idea, but so hello Marco. I think I got everybody so far. Robert Jones. And Kane, yeah, I got you. Okay, looky here. Just FXT. I'm going to read what I think he's saying. I live in Turkey. They call, if y'all don't know, Turkey changed their name to Turkey now. I need to study up on that because I love the history of, obviously, from, Israel, Turkey, all of that. And Turkey is, I don't know, 2/3 of the New Testament takes place in either Greece or Turkey. Paul's writings, a lot of those churches are in Turkey. It's different now. My wife used to, she may get back to it, but teach online, and a lot of the ladies she would teach would be in Turkey. And so I got to learn from her, learning from them while she was teaching them. So that was cool. Let's see. He said he's in Turkey, and there is so rough about guns. I guess gun laws are rough, and I think it's BS. I'll say that. Even 22, with 22, you need some documents for the sniper rifles. I hate this situation. Brother, I hate that too. I don't know what people in Turkey think about people in the United States, and that if people in the United States even think about them. Some of us do. I do. I have several friends in Pakistan, and just XT. You should get a hold of me because I'm always looking for friends that live in other places that I can learn from, and talk to, and we learn from each other. I love that. And you're right in the middle of my faith, the area where my faith came from. And I don't know if we have the same faith or not. And if we don't, it's okay. You're welcome. He said, I don't know about the Bible, but I respect. That's exactly what I'm saying, brother. You may have a different religion. You may have none. I don't know. I would like to find out. But I don't know near as much as I should about other faiths. And I've studied them a good bit. But it's a lot to just study your own faith. Oh, fix it. Fix it. That's what it, just fix it. That's how you say his name. Just fix it. Okay, that is cool. Um, Kane said, I have a daughter, OTW, and a 13-year-old. Wow. Boy. I I didn't get my boy. Some things happened. Some things were done to me that slowed me down. So I was 40 when my daughter was born. She's 19 and I'm 59. I was 40 when she was born. And uh, on one hand, I wanted to be a responsible adult and not have 5 kids when I was 20 and blame all my problems on them. I saw too much of that. And on the other hand, it kind of sucks being kind of old and your kid being young, because there's a lot of things I would have liked to have done with her when I was young and capable, and built a relationship. I think we lost some of that because of my health. Her mama died in 2017, and so it kind of shattered all of us. It certainly did me, and it's been rough since then. But um, it's hard to keep outside whispering voices out of people. Um, all right, Keith Lim. Keith said my dad wore that red hat I'm talking about a lot, and the one he gave me, I begged him for it, and he finally gave it to me, but he told me I better take good care of it. That's right. People didn't have as much of the tendency of a throwaway world back then. Um, you bought a hat or two. You might have 3 hats. I started collecting hats, and I just had hats all over the wall. I'm still doing. I'm like, I don't have one that color. I don't have one that says Case on it. I don't have one that says Benchmade on it. There's still hats I want. And sometimes when I go to buy somebody's merch, the shirts only go up to a certain size, and in the worst of my health, I gained all kind of weight, and I was like, well, I can't buy a hat, but I want to support them. So I can't buy a shirt because it won't fit, and so I'd buy a hat. Chicken fried steak is in the house. I told him the other day I really liked him for dinner. He can come anytime. I bet he ain't never heard that. Just fix it. Should be controlled, but not should be rough because criminals get guns with illegal. I need to make it where phone calls can't come through when I'm doing video. Yeah. Yeah. So what he's saying, and I completely agree. This is what they're trying to do to us too. Take your guns because criminals do bad things with guns. Criminals do bad things with cars. They get drunk and run people over. They're not trying to take your car because alcoholic run his car into somebody. And praise the Lord, in the United States we have the Second Amendment. That most of the world doesn't have a document that guarantees freedoms. Now look, that document is just a piece of paper. There's force behind it. And the government's supposed to protect our rights. They're trying to take them. So that's a whole conversation. But yeah, right? Criminals and people with ill intent, murderers, terrorists. I mean, we got them here. They're everywhere. if people want to do harm to people, you can find a way. They're going to find a way. Marco, what does CFS mean? I may not be. I'm not up on that one. Chicken fried steak, said chicken bow bow. Let's see. Keith said it was a cool hat. Your dad always had good taste in all the hats he wore. He did. My dad was pretty picky about hats. He didn't, like just have a bunch of hats that were kind of cheap hats. He had, when he bought a hat, it was a nice hat. And and back then, what did a hat cost? $4, maybe $5. Now they're 40, 50, at least 20, 25. Good hat like branded bills, which I love branded bills. I have this is a Richardson 512 from McNeese Knives, but I've got a Montana Knife Company hat, and it is the branded bills, and that's how I found branded bills. And man, do they make nice hats. I talked to a guy last night. Dang, I wish that's his name. Armor and something. Armor and Ammo. And he makes custom shirts and hats and stuff. And, the things that pop up on Facebook, and I sort of assume they're Chinese phishing things, or so you get on there and, it's like, it's only $20. And next thing you know, there's $240 they've charged you. I had that happen this week. But it was like $70, but still, I had to go through all this. Give me my dang money back. That's ridiculous. So I go every time. If I'm like, oh, that looks cool, I go Google it, see if it's a scam or whatever. And a lot of them are Patriot shirts scam. They'll automatically sign you up to a subscription plan that you don't even know about. Next month, $25 comes out of your bank, and you're gonna get some cheap little shirt. Oh, let me see, Keith. No, Keith, I did not get the store open yet. I went to do it yesterday. The lady at my first doctor's appointment, I don't know, didn't come till like an hour and a half late, and so it burned my whole day. Then today we had a bunch of stuff we had to do, and I had to do a couple of videos. So I got to get on there and figure out how to get it open. I'm not quite sure. I've got everything in there. I've got shirts, hats. I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 different designs. A Bulldog Smith Farms and a bulldog, or I've got one that's a deer and crosshairs and says Bulldog Smith Farms. I'm going to do several of them over time. I've got the one that's on there's like brown and green. I'm going to do one John Deere colors. I've already got it designed. I just got to, go through the process of putting it in. And so I got like 50 things on there, like 40 something things on there, from mugs, like camp mugs, like enamel mugs, stainless steel water bottle, a few coffee cups. But like, I don't really use a normal coffee cup. I use, this is my favorite one. Yeti, like camp mug. Holds a big cup of coffee. I didn't drink coffee my whole life till recently. I needed energy. And, when I was driving a truck, at some point I got to where I'd need a cup of coffee to get me home, But I really like these, and Stanley has them too. And theirs is called a camp mug, I think. And I like that tall design. I've got some of the smaller ones too, not smaller. They're like 14. This is 24 ounces. I've got some that are like 14 ounce. That's a big coffee cup, the shorter ones. But mostly I I have things displayed. Like I've got John Deere Yetis up there and stuff like that. Let's see if you can even see them. There's a couple. I've got several John Deere Yetis up there. And boy, when they hit, you better buy one. Because if you're trying to buy it off of, if you like John Deere and you like Yeti, they do a collaboration every year and come out with mugs. I think that one's a 32 ounce, I think. It's not the biggest one, like the 40 or whatever. But it's not the smaller one. It's the medium one. I think there's 4 sizes. And they're gone in a few minutes. I was like, I don't have the money until Wednesday. It was like Monday or something. And like 5 minutes they were sold out. And I got a hold of Yeti and said, I always miss these. Is there any other way I can get one? And she said, go look at John Deere stores because they carry them. And so I called my John Deere store. They said, we don't have any, but the store that's about 45 minutes south of them, so that's probably an hour and a half south of me, they have some. You want me to get you one? I said, yeah, get me a couple. And so I got theirs, and John Deere just has their own. I don't say Yeti, but they're the same thing. Or they're an aluminum tumbler, and I'm setting it on shelf. So I don't care if it keeps ice a little longer or a little less. Those are just going on shelf. And they have bigger ones, and they come in yellow or green with the John Deere on them. So I'm going to do some shirts like that with my running deer. I've always wanted to get that as a tattoo, a deer running full out with like his back feet forward and his front feet backward, getting down. And I just never did it. I wanted to get my band logo. I drew our band logo and all that stuff back in the day. And I always wanted to get that band logo on me. But then I wanted a Marine Corps Bulldog and an Eagle Globe and Anchor. And I wanted that deer. And so I just kept putting it off until I didn't get any of them. I have one tattoo when I married my late wife. We got matching tattoos of Celtic knotwork heart with 2 keys in it. And like I said, she passed in 2017. And I remarried, and I have a wonderful wife. She's under a lot of stress right now. Her dad had to move in because of Alzheimer's. So it's been really hard on everybody. And I know it's hard on him. He goes up and down. He remembers pretty good. And then next day or just an hour later, he's so confused. He don't know where he lives. He won't believe you that he lives here until you take him in his room and show him his stuff. Things like that. But you know what? They took care of us when we was babies. And she has 2 sisters, but the situation is kind of where, you know how it is. It always kind of ends up on one. My cousin Keith, his mama, my Aunt Joyce, she ended up having to take care of my granny. Her and my Uncle Thurman were really the only ones in a position to do that. My mom and dad sure couldn't. My Aunt Ruth sure couldn't. My Aunt Jody had passed away. Comes down to big sis. She was the big sister. Yeah. Keith went through the Alzheimer's stuff with his dad. It is rough. And I know Keith did everything he could to keep him at home, work with him, try to, but he started being dangerous to himself, just wandering off and getting kind of angry. And here's my Uncle Thurman, not an angry man, very kind, meek, humble man. Hey, he could get on you if he needed to, but his heart was just good, Um, and Keith really went through a whole lot of that. And, it comes to a point to where you can't do it. You have to go to work, and they need 24-hour-a-day supervision and stuff. And for their own safety, for other people's safety, they get in a car and just go kill somebody. We had to take the air out of the tires of my father-in-law's truck to get him to quit trying to drive off. Um, and he'd get a block down the road and be calling. He didn't know where he was, and he just had went and got in his truck and left. So Keith had to make some hard decisions, and I figure my wife's going to have to. But I got to let her. I've walked through this with my late wife's grandparents and watched everybody nearly bankrupt themselves and kill themselves trying to keep them at home, and trying to figure out how a lady picks up a 260-pound man that can't even wipe his butt or take a bath, or it gets to the point where you can't do it. And so I foresee that, but I have to let her walk this road. And she has no choice. It's her daddy, and she loves him, of course. And so, and I love him too. He's a wonderful fella. He's been a preacher his whole life. So he's a really good guy. He's not himself a lot now. It's taken some adjusting for me to be able to just wrap my mind around it and deal with some of the stuff, Hey, Mr. Kane. I hope you have a good evening. And we'll talk about some knives and stuff, but but I figured, I'd just kind of hang out and talk about what's going on and what's going on with you guys. So, if you got anything that you need prayer for, you'd like to talk about, we can move on to that. Let's see. Kane's got to go. Later, Kane. Mr. Clint, how you doing? Yeah. Keith said when his dad said the F word to the cops, it blew his mind. This is not a man that said that. You almost kind of wonder, did he know that word? Keith said he took off with the car and hit something. I remember that. That was yellow because there was paint on the car, and hit another car. So it was tough. He said it was tough, cuz. But family comes first, and I would do anything for my dad. And he did. It's left to him. They had 2 boys, and Ricky's the older one, but he's stable, like, it's just different, and so, it's on Ricky. It wasn't on Ricky. It was on Keith. I'm sure Ricky helped make decisions, and stuff. But if Ricky was all by himself, he wouldn't have been able to do it. I don't believe so. But Keith, without Ricky, could do it. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's your mama, that's your daddy. You love them. You do whatever you got to do for them. My mom got so bad, and she was complaining that she was dying all the time and sick all the time her whole life. So my dad was like, one day you're going to really be sick and nobody's going to believe you, and that kind of happened. And it turned out she really was sick that time. She had cancer. And I was working on the road. I was never home. I was on the road 7 days a week for about a year. I was never home. And to go help her, my wife, at the time girlfriend Selena, would go help her. And Eventually, her sister came up from Florida, up to Alabama. I live in Alabama now, and got her and took her back to Florida. And then they found out she had cancer after that. Um, it wasn't obvious, and it was just some other thing. Something was going on, you know. So I would get loads to Florida anytime I could, you know, to just stay the night. And I'd plan with my dispatcher to, I'll stay the night down there. But your family, you know, here's my hierarchy. God, He comes first. Because if I don't love God correctly, I can't love my wife, my children, my family, my friends, my neighbors. I can't love them correctly if I don't have this thing worked out with God, because God loved me, so therefore I want to love people. God forgave me of all my stupid, sometimes mistakes, sometimes intentional. Just I want to have my way. I want to do it. I'm going to do it. I don't care about the consequences. And then you do. You care when the consequences hit. Then he'd say, that little voice, that little Holy Spirit voice would say, how'd you like that? I didn't like that. Well, maybe you shouldn't do that again. I think you're right. But it goes, this is my hierarchy. God, wife, children, family, your town you live in, you know, your friends, of course, your friends, the town you live in, the state you live in, the county you live in, and the country you live in. So if we can get that right, if we can put God in His rightful place, I know it does for me. It gives me the desire to treat people the way they should be treated. Because look, old Danny, old bulldog, stubborn, you know. You got to kill me if you pick a fight with me. You're gonna have to kill me. You know that guy. God had a lot of work to do on that guy, and He did. He's done a lot of work. It's been at least 49, about 50 years of me kind of beginning, at least in the beginning, of growing in the understanding of my faith. Because I always had it. I was just always there. That little voice was always there. Keith's mom would take us to this old Baptist church on Haverhill Road in West Palm Beach. A big Baptist church, actually. And we'd go to Sunday school there. That's my first memories of church and God, was that little Sunday school and making little crafts. And eventually venturing down into the church and going, this is where the grown-ups go. And then we were little then. I'm talking about we went to school. And my dad moved us all the time. He was trying to get us out of the city and in the country, and he was doing some things. And I'll tell y'all stories. I've got a lot of stories if y'all want to hear them. He was doing some illegal stuff that was going to make him a bunch of money, and it turned out a tragedy that turned into a blessing of me getting to live on my pop's farm that he had just bought. And my Aunt Joyce and Uncle Thurman helped him buy that farm for his sort of retirement. He told me, there's a lot of these little, my pop told me one time, feeding cows. It was either feeding cows or driving in the truck, when he would kind of just tell me a little lesson, you know. And he, gosh, what was the lesson that day? I went down a rabbit trail and lost the rabbit. But my pop was wise and good and kind, funny, laughed all the time. And I wouldn't be who I am without him. Oh, okay, I remember now. So my dad got caught doing illegal stuff, and that don't mean he was a bad guy. I'll talk about it sometime. But that seeming tragedy, as I've looked back through my life and I see that tragedies, God always works a blessing out of them. The blessing was getting to spend fourth, fifth, half a second. Then we moved. Then we had to move back. So then fourth, fifth, sixth, and half of seventh grade, I got to spend on the farm with my pop every day. You know, he would have to go back to West Palm sometimes to do a little job digging a pond for somebody. He owned a dragline business. But then other than that, he was there, and we lived on a farm. And but I stayed at Pop's house when Pop was home 90% of the time. And whatever Pop was doing, Danny was doing it with him. And he told me that he said he spent half his life trying to get off his daddy's old dirt farm in Georgia. He was a sharecropper, like all my ancestors were on that side back to the Civil War. Before that, they were landowners, farmers. After the Civil War and carpetbaggers came, basically government stole all your land to fairly divide it amongst their friends mostly. And so then all the people who had worked all that land all that time became tenant farmers, sharecroppers, barely able to feed their children. And so I have some views about the Civil War. And he said he spent half his life trying to get off his daddy's old dirt farm, and the other half trying to get one of his own. And I absolutely understand that. I didn't want to leave the farm. I begged Aunt Joyce and them not to sell the farm. I said, I didn't know. In actuality, they probably owned the farm. I think they probably put the money up for it, or at least a big portion of it. I know that they made it possible for him to live those years messing with cows and hogs and chickens and growing corn, and because that's what he wanted to do in his semi-retirement, but he only lived a couple more years. I was 14 when he died. But think about this. I lived in my Aunt Joyce built a little house right next to my granny's house before she got married. And then when she got married to my Uncle Thurman, they built a house down the road, just down the road. I mean, you can see it. It's right down the road there, but we're next little crossroad. It's like a block. In a little Shell Rock Road, Sunbeam Avenue, and I think Keith and them lived on Robert Street. And so I grew up with my mom locking me in a back bedroom all day when I was preschool. And there was a window, and it looked right at my pop's house. And if I could open that window, and there was a hedge outside, and if Pop turned in that drive, lunch, needed a tooth for his dragline bucket to weld on, whatever it was. I remember some of those things specifically, like my pop going, I got to get this here, son, and we'll take it with us. And going, telling my mom that Daddy jumped out the window again, Linda, and I'm going to take him to work, give me some diapers and some clothes. And and I would sit on the drag line, on the drag line, there's a panel right back here. And so it makes a little shelf. And I just sit on that panel behind my pop all afternoon. all day. Or he'd put me over on a dirt pile where say, don't come over here where I'm working the machine. You stay over there where I can see you and you're out of the way. And I'd truck and G.I. Joe in the muck, whatever he was digging. That was Shell Rock right there where I'm thinking of. But there was other places. One time he gave me a net to catch minnows and fish and stuff and gave me a bucket full of water, but the water was muddy, and I thought, I got an idea where I can see my fish because I can't see them in that muddy water. And so I put my fish in Pop's water cooler because that water was clean. I mean, clear. And so my fish is swimming around in there and under the ice. And I wasn't in school yet. That's how little I was. I remember it. And he come and said, you put your fish in my drinking water, boy. Can't do that. But he laughed about it. I reckon telling stories lost most everybody, but it's okay. Next week, I'll do some knife stuff next week, and hopefully next week I'll be able to give something away. I've got an idea of something I may do. I won't have the knife. Maybe I could show you a picture of the knife because I want to order it and have it shipped right to you, and it'll save me money on shipping, but it won't be that I'll be not spending that money. I'll be putting that money into the knife. I went to UPS today to ship out a couple knives that I gave away a couple weeks ago, and all this happened. A knife. They wanted $30 to send that knife somewhere. And I was like, now look, if I'm sending you a $250 knife, okay, right? I trust UPS more than the post office. But $30 to send a $40 knife to somebody? That's undoable. I could buy you a $70 knife, right? So that didn't work out. I'm going to the post office in the morning and do it. And I think that will cost me about $10 or $12, cause I could put them in an envelope, literally. I could put it, because I mean, I've got some stickers in there and some little lanyard stuff from Kelly's Mishmash. So, it's not like, I mean, it's this much room. And hey, I was using my own box and they wanted $30 with my box. So, I mean, come on. I just said, nope. But our pop was awesome. And he was my living embodiment of what Jesus would be like and what a good man should be. And so all these little lessons he taught me, I lived by them. And think about the difference it would have been if my dad didn't get in trouble. I would have went from living right next door to my pop. Well, then we lived a few miles away for a while, second grade or half a second grade. We lived a few miles away, and then we moved up to the farm for a little while. My dad preparing to get us over into the Panhandle where we were going to live. If he had had his way, I would have lived over there. And like what's going on then, my whole third grade year, I saw my pop 2 or 3 times because he would come visit. And when we moved in that house, it had an outhouse and an outside shower that was 3 pieces of tin and a shower curtain and a pipe that came up out of a spring. No indoor plumbing, no indoor kitchen, potbelly stove and a fireplace. No electricity. And my dad built out a bathroom, a kitchen, electricity, air conditioning, the whole deal. And then got caught with 60 pot plants. that were all bloomed out, ready to pick. And they couldn't prove they were his, but they did find a few little seeds and some pot dust in a baggie in a drawer, and they put him in jail. And so he had to sell that place and buy a trailer and move it on my pop's farm during the Carter years. No work. In a farm community, and a guy that's run a drag line and bulldozer and stuff his whole life, not a lot of construction going on. And certainly not with, what was it, 15, 16% interest rates. It was a terrible time. And I would have seen my pop through the mirrors 2 or 3 times a year. Instead, I got to spend those very influential years of my life between, what's that, like 9 and 12, 13, with my pop every day, all the time, learning stuff, just doing stuff, learning stuff because he's showing me how to do stuff. Things he told me, things he didn't even have to say, just watching him be a good man. So God gave me him just long enough for me to get what I got from him. And without that, I don't know who Danny might be. Might be a whole different guy. And now Keith said Granny Smith. He's been here a while, but I'm talking. So I'm running my mouth. Granny Smith lived right down the road from it. Oh yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, let me go back. I missed stuff. Yeah, he took the car. Okay. Here we go. When I saw your mom last was at Mom's funeral, and I didn't recognize her at first because she had lost so much weight. And I went for a week or two right before she passed and stayed at my Aunt Joyce's house because my mom's sister, my Aunt Marcia's house was always a party, and my Aunt Joyce's house was clean and quiet, and Aunt Joyce made us dinner every night. Good dinner. And so that saved us some money. And eventually I had to go back to work, and I had barely got home, and I was almost dying. That close. I was in a coma for a month, I think. And all my organs had shut down. And I was in the middle of that before I went out, before we went to the hospital, and they called and said, your mom's breathing her last breaths. They had brought her home for hospice the day before, I think. She was at home for one day. But when we got there, she was gray. I've never seen somebody that was gray. She was gray. I mean, for real. Like, gray. Still wanting to smoke a cigarette. Had to take her downstairs so she could smoke a cigarette. It's too late now. And I was like, I know. And Keith said that church I was talking about was Haverhill Baptist Church. It's still there. It was still there last time I went. Keith would know. He lives there. I do miss my hometown some. There's a lot I don't miss about it. Very grown up. Whew, there's no space between anything anymore. There used to be space, just woods, And Granny Smith, he's talking about a great granny. Evans lived right down the road, and Granny Smith lived with my great granny for a good while, years, taking care of her. They only lived a few miles away, but I think my granny was like, I want her to be. She lived in her 90s. So did my great granddad Evans on my dad's mom's side. My granny was Laureen Evans Smith, and my pop's name was Lige Smith, Lige. I've only ever heard that name one other time. There's a watch by the name of Lige, which I want to get one. And there is a character in Josie Wales, Outlaw Josie Wales. There's two criminals, and that rob Josie and them, and then Josie comes back and kills them. And one of them says, "Hey, Lige," and I'm like, "That guy, character's name's Lige." And nobody knew why my pop was named that for years. I found out he was named after his great granddad Elijah, and it was spelled Elige. My daughter's name is Madison, after Madison, Florida, where our farm was, and Elijah for her middle name. And I spelled it Lygia because I had my wife write it out in pretty girl handwriting, and that's what looked pretty. So she's named after the place that I had my most precious memories from, most important time in my life, and my pop, most important person in my life. Let's see. Pops would pick me up. He said Pops would pick me up in his old red Chevy truck, yep, and visit you when you lived in Sebring. That's right. That's a whole nother story. My dad moved us from the farm to Sebring because it was sort of a hideout. It was a safe place because he was in West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, bringing in plane loads, cigarette boat loads of cocaine, and bales of pot. I'll tell you, my dad got tired of working his tail off and never getting ahead. And all his friends were getting rich selling drugs. And my dad was just old redneck. Most of them were, all of his partners, all just rednecks that all grew up together right there. And they were called the Cocaine Cowboys. And I've watched a documentary about it, and it's about a bunch of Cubans, which that was a big part of the whole 80s drug trade coming from Colombia to the United States. A lot of it was Cuban involved, and a lot of it was some rednecks from Florida that knew the lay of the land. They knew these ranches. They knew places that nobody ever went, and they knew each other. And I've got a bunch of stories about that if y'all ever want to hear them. And I can see, like, most people don't want to hear my stories. It's okay. I'll do knife content because I love it. I'm passionate about it. People enjoy it. On my other DannyLink's calling channel, I do a lot of faith stuff there, and people call it politics, but it's just what's going on in the world and how that relates to the Bible and what the Bible says is coming and here. And Keith and them, he said, I loved it in Madison too. They came up in the summer, every summer. All my cousins, or at least Keith and Ricky, would come. And for a few years, my cousin Kim and Karen lived up there, and they had a little farm. And they had two pieces of land, one where their house was, and another that was just land. And me and Pop worked that land too, planted over there and stuff. And I had to hand pick corn when I was about 10. And it was hot. It was scratchy. It was itchy. And got stung by a lot of bees and wasps. It wasn't nothing like as bad as picking tobacco. that stuff will make you sick. But they got to come up in the summer, and Aunt Joyce and them always kept a camper. And so Keith and them, they were in my eyes, they were so lucky because his dad made good money. He was an electrician. My Aunt Joyce was a very good manager of their home. Um, they got to go on vacation to Disney like every year, somewhere, Busch Gardens, Disney. I got to go one time, and it was with them. I got to go one time as a child. Now, when I got grown, we tore that place up. Me and my girlfriend and then wife, and we went all the time. I made up for not getting to go do stuff like that when I was a kid. But I did get to do stuff like my dad teaching me to hunt, fish, sharpen knives, clean guns, shoot really well. Not bragging, I'm a great marksman. And when I went to the Marine Corps, shot expert in everything they would let me qualify in. And that was what I was good at. That's what my drill instructor said at graduation. That told my dad, congratulated my dad for raising a boy that could shoot so good. And when we got to the rifle range, they were like, "That's what Smith is good at." Let's see what Keith's saying. That's one thing I wished Dad with him. I did with him, but him and my mom told me I was too young for that. They said you was too young for what? What, Sneef? Do I, Just Fix It said, do I have a motorcycle? Nope, I don't right now. I got where I couldn't ride it. My ankle was collapsing on me. I didn't understand what was going on yet, and my knee. And now it's both knees, and my ankle's fused. And I'm in good enough health now. I think I could ride again. I had a Harley Road King Classic for a long time. I love that bike. Money got real tight before my wife passed away, and I teared up. I had to load it on the trailer for a guy because he didn't know how to ride. That tore me up. I love that thing. I customized that thing. I don't know if there's a part on it, just the motor and the frame. And Keith said, I have a picture of Pop opening your front door in Sebring, and he's smiling. Yeah. He would, Kramer on Seinfeld, bust in the front door. My pop would swing the door open, and hey, and smiling and laughing. That's a great picture. My mom was like, your pop's here. And she got the camera ready to take that picture when he walked through the door. I was in like 7th or 8th grade then. I don't think 9th grade. I don't think so, because I was 14 when Pop died, and it was October. So let me think. I might have been just about to turn 14. Yeah, because it was 1980. So I was probably in the 8th grade when he passed away. Had a heart attack. It wasn't his first, but he wouldn't let him do bypass surgery. Cliff Brott, hey brother, how you doing? We're just hanging out. I'm just telling stories. I wish this conversation could go two ways. Like more with just me having to read what y'all say. But I've been on the other side of this thing 1,000 times, Let's see. Just Fix It. Well, I'm going to sleep. See you, friend. I followed you. Hey, Just Fix It. Bless you, my friend. if you're still here, you can email me at my channel name, BullDogSmithFarms@gmail.com. I'd love to talk and keep up with you. Any of y'all want to email me? Just talk. You need prayer. You'd rather not say something in public. I'd do that. That's how I got to know Chris, a professional dad. I had things I wanted to say to him I just didn't want to say, and so or questions, and I just email him. I consider him a friend. I probably consider him a friend more than he does me, but you know how that goes. Let's see. Everybody loved Mom's cooking. That is for sure. Thanksgiving was always great. Let's see. It's still there. I'm way behind. Don Bond. Hey, brother. Mr. B, how's your day? I am alive and not kicking because I got bad knees and a bad ankle. Don Bond said hi, howdy. The drag line with Pop. Let's see. Oh, I get it now. So I was telling a story about riding a drag line with Pop, hanging out with Pop. Pop would put us in the drag line bucket. If you don't know, a drag line's like a crane, and it has a bucket with teeth on the front to dig dirt. And it's got a cable coming from the top, one from the front. One picks it up, one pulls it this way or lets it go to dump. So you throw it out there, you swing the boom, throw the bucket out there, sand and water, and dig it full of dirt, pull it up, swing it over here, dump the bucket. Bring the bucket back down. As you're swinging bucket. I did this in the summer. Summer times I'd go with my dad, learning how to run a drag line, backhoe. Backhoe's the first thing I learned how to run. Bulldozer. I did some bulldozing. I was real young because Pop had a bulldozer. And front end loader. My dad taught me to teach all them. In the summers, on weekends, I would go with my dad. If he was working the weekend, when he was young and when my pop was young, that's how he got started, was oiling a man's machine. Then my dad was my pop's oiler, and you learn from how to run the machine from the operator. And they weren't allowing that because of insurance and stuff time I was growing up. So my dad would sneak me out on the weekends and teach me stuff. Let's see. Yeah, Cliff, I have Instagram. I need to start. I'm kind of new at it. I need to learn to post on there more. I do stories every day, all the time. And a lot of time I share other people's stuff, like McNeese, T-Kill, but just Protect, but other people's photos, sort of advertisement for what they're doing, custom makers, small makers. I try to share their photos and stuff and give them just a little bit more attention, sort of help advertise for them. And I just put my little bit of flair on there, a little comment and some music and, my channel names, BullDogSmith.com or BullDogSmithEDC and DannyLink's calling down at the bottom and post it. So sort of give me a little advertising and help those guys. I really want to help in my little small way, and maybe as I grow, it'll help them more to shine a light on people, from preachers to just people doing stuff that is I think is great. I talked to a guy yesterday. I got his information. We're going to do an interview about, he makes wood projects, and he makes a wood cross handmade, no laser cutting, no laser engraving. It's all hand done out of oak. And it says Jesus, but it's in the shape of a cross. And I've seen that in like keychains and stuff, but it's beautiful. And I checked to make sure he wasn't a scam. He's a real guy. Lives in Boulder, Colorado, outside a suburb of Boulder, and makes stuff. And I want to learn about him, talk about him, interview him on video, and of course T. Kell and McNeese and all these other guys, but not just knives, and not just Tim Kell, Jonathan McNeese. I want to talk to their wives, their children, the people that work, that build their knives, the people they employ, because I want to get like the story of where the ideas came from. And I know a lot of this already, but everybody don't. So I want to kind of help to show their story, and then the people, put a spotlight on the people that get it done, that make that dream come true, right? Because Tim's not making knives all by himself now. You can only make real custom makers like Tim used to do, and so did Jonathan, and a lot of people that are mid-tech now that used to do custom knives. You can only do a few knives a week. Let's say you could do one every day. You're talking about cutting steel, grinding, making handles out of raw material, heat treating, grinding, sharpening, all that. One guy takes time. There's a reason that these guys custom handmade knives are $1,500, $2,800. There's a reason. I mean, if you could make one knife a week, are you going to make it for $300? No. Right? Are you going to make it for $2,800? Maybe not. Maybe you're the people that are interested in your knives, 500 is their limit, right? Well, let's say you get more popular and now people want them and you can't make enough of them. So you have too much, now you have too much demand and not enough supply. So you want to kind of even that out and bring your supply up, but your demand down, because you're charging more. When you find that equilibrium, you're at the price that the market will bear. You don't have not enough demand now, and not so much that you can't keep up with it. So you are making as much money from your time as possible, right? So I don't begrudge these guys for wanting money. They make art, This is just a little old Walmart special. My wife brought in here and said, did you give this to Madison? And I said, yeah. And she said, well, it's yours now. I said, well, Madison can have it if she wants it. But she's got a nice purple knife that I bought her, automatic. That's really nice. But my mom would take me to my pop's machine when I've got pictures when I was just a little bitty. I was like, there's a picture of me sitting with little tennis shoes on and sitting like this when I was real little. Like, I probably was still wearing a diaper, but walking real good and talking probably. And I've got pictures like that on my pop's drag line, standing on the tracks next to my pop and sitting in the drag line, riding drag line with my pop. And he would put us in a bucket and dump us in the water. And everybody's like, what if a cable broke or something? And it's like, my pop knows how to inspect cables, So yeah, Cliff, Instagram thing. It's just Bulldog Smith. I'm right over there. And I try to check the message over there. I've got 3 emails, and now I got Instagram and text. So, but man, I love talking to y'all. So, and I tell you, man, this daggum thing, when you do it and you're trying to have stuff every day, it's a lot. It takes a lot more time than what you think. What I thought. I'm like, he made a 30-minute video and a 3-minute video and a 1-minute video. Well, there's a lot more than just making a video. You know, you got to know what you're talking about, pull up some research, you know. So he said, I told Ricky about your website. He said he was going to check it out. That's awesome. I love my cousin Ricky. He did pick me up by my neck and put me against the wall one time. I probably was being aggravating. I'm just guessing. I love that fella. He's the sweetest they come. Let's see. Dan Stan, how you doing, brother? Cliff Broad, what's happening, brother? Cliff Broad said, Dan, hey, brother, I'm making lunch. Hey, Cliff, where are you at? Y'all, I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to ask y'all, where are you at? Because I think that's cool. Because it's 6:30 here. So, 6:36. So if you're making lunch, let me think. Let's say it's 12. That's 6 hours. No. Let's see. Is it like 3 o'clock? In California, maybe? Roger Baker. Man, Roger Baker, how are you doing, brother? Hey, Danny, good to see you, brother. Hope you are doing good. Mr. Roger, I'm doing pretty good. I've been under some pressure lately. Some hard stuff, but right now, I'm doing good. Cliff Broad, Roger said hi. Cliff said, Roger, much love, my brother. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This right here, me doing this with many of y'all for 2 years, got me through near death. And the hardest I've had to come back. I normally force myself, I bulldog myself back. This time took a long time. But man, I'm so much better now. The Lord, He always takes care of me. Cliff is in Alaska. Now I understand. Now that makes sense. You way up there and way that way. We're at in Alaska. We talked about this, I think, a little bit, didn't we? About Alaska. And I said, because I want to go to Alaska. It's one of my big trips. I want to go. I think, Cliff, you were the one telling me about you guide fishing, right? I want to. My memory's terrible, so forgive me. I've had sepsis twice. Not good for your brain. I've had all my organs shut down. Had my kidneys completely shut down on me. Not good for your brain. Had my heart almost die on me twice. Not good for your brain. Talkeetna. Dang. See, I've got to get more screens. I've got another tablet that I'm going to use, I think, as a monitor. Just one I had, old iPad I had. I just got to get it charged to figure out how to get in it. And I'm going to, I think I've got an extra TV. I think I was working today on how to mirror what's on my phone in here on a TV. So I'm going to move in another room, hopefully, not too long away, and set up like a studio. This is just my little hangout room, and so I'm just kind of in a little corner, but I'll be able to have different backgrounds for different things, and I'll have a TV maybe as a background. You know, that cross I was talking about that guy makes. I want that for a background too, for my Christian stuff especially. I mean, you know, my faith just goes everywhere I go. I tell people Jesus is my native language. So that's just, that's just what it is. But politics and stuff, I'm trying to, that's why I started that channel, because, I'm talking about things that are happening in the world today, but everybody's so divided, you know. And I'm like, if you don't like it, it's okay. You don't have to watch it. If you want to watch it and you disagree, you're more than welcome to debate nicely, not Facebook yelling at people and cussing people, calling people names style. Like this, like people treat each other in our knife community. When people act like this, see, you can talk about things that you disagree with about, because it's okay. It's okay to think something different, and it's getting to an extreme, of course, but we're just getting further apart, and you're not going to be able to maintain a nation if you continue to grow apart. You're being divided, and that's on purpose. Let's see, what time is it? 6:41. I want to try to let y'all go about the time that Wyvern Kodiak starts, because you know there's so many shows out here. It's hard to find a place that, and a lot of people, and people have told me this, YouTuber friends have told me, you just gotta not worry about it and pick a place and do what you're gonna do. The people that love you will come, but at least people I know, I don't want to just step all over them, and their show is great because you've got their knife designs. Their first one. I'm gonna get one of them jokers. Their first knife is cool. But Wyvern, Chris, he's the sort of drawing designer. He's like me. I'm a designer. That's what all these designs, art stuff, and my band T-shirts and stuff. That's just out of my brain, and so he's the guy that does that. And the other guy, Kodiak guy, he is a business partner. Run the business. I think they're just equal, but Chris does like the drawing and the designing of it, and I imagine there's input from Kodiak. What a cool name they came up with, Wyvern Kodiak. And if you watch them, you'll see he's printed a big background. You got a big Kodiak bear and Wyvern, a dragon. So you have a dragon and a big Kodiak bear. So cool. I mean, that is an awesome idea, and it's awesome. It's beautiful. And I think he's got like a tabletop thing like that and a background, like a big backdrop. Like, I've got my band backdrop downstairs. I have guitars hanging in front of it. And my band's name was Macon Hazen, MAYKYNHAYZYN. And you can find some stuff on the internet about us and some songs. There's a Macon Hazen Facebook page that my late drummer, he passed away. He got hit in an accident and killed a few years ago, and his wife runs our band page. And my buddy Jerry is doing music still, and I got where I couldn't. And we lived the whole drama of big giant rock bands without ever getting a record deal. We were that close a bunch of times, but alcohol and drugs and me being sober all the time, was it a great mix. The artistic melding of 5 people, though, man, that was good. It just kept getting better. Um, with alcohol stole a lot of people from me in my life, and it stole that too, that dream. We would have been assigned band 5 or 6 years before I stopped, walked away from it. If not for alcohol, even the pot and stuff, not that big a deal. Functionally speaking, but alcoholism, even the drinking beer, wasn't a big deal. But my buddy was alcoholic. That's a big deal. That's a different. It's a difference of getting a beer and drinking a beer while you're on stage and being wasted when you get there. Not good. And attitude comes with that. So Talkeetna, clips from Talkeetna, Alaska. Man, email me and remind me. Because I want to look it up and research where you're at. Because I don't want to live there. I'd like to visit there in the summertime. I've been there in the winter, and I had never seen snow from being from Florida in the Marine Corps, and I graduated boot camp on Halloween Day, 1985. So October 31st, 1985 was my graduation day, and I did advanced infantry training and some special weapons training, and a little bit of sniper training at Camp Geiger by Camp Lejeune. And so it was like December and January, November, December, January, and saw the first little snow I'd ever seen in my life. Just a little, you know. And the next snow I seen was Alaska in the dead of winter. On the way to the Philippines, flying out. And I was like, Lord have mercy. There's like 8 foot of snow out there. And if you've never been to the Anchorage airport, I hope it's still there. Gigantic polar bear mounted, standing up in a glass display right in the middle of the concourse. Awesome. And I'm an 18-year-old kid, you know what I mean? I was in heaven. And then went to the Philippines for a good long while. I came back in a medevac plane. I love that we all know each other. You know what? We realize we don't know each other like if we were neighbors. We talk. We're on like in person, you know. But this is something that I love about this is the kindness of each other, people to each other, and the kind of wanting to know people, get to know them. And that's a big part of what I want to do. Hey, Miss BM, what up, Bulldog? New York here. What are we talking about? You know what? We're normally talking about knives, and I did show a Walmart knife. What do they call it? What do they call it? The Grail. Dang, I can't remember the word. I won one of these. This ain't it. It's in a drawer over there. I won one of these from Dadgum. I hate my memory of names. I'm gonna write it all down. But I won one, and a couple other things too. Like I won this little blue I can't remember the name of it. Starts with an S. And I wanted a knife from Chris, not a professional dad. This one right here, which come in just this little plain cardboard box, and seemed like, what's that, $20 knife? Okay, I'll give it, maybe it's a $40 knife. This thing is amazing. The action, and it's a frame lock. And it is a Land 911. Land 911. And so after that, I did a video about how here's this little seemingly nondescript knife that came in a cardboard box. Just a cardboard. I'm talking about cardboard. No color. It's cardboard. Thought it might be right here somewhere. I'm doing some reorganizing, but this is a fantastic knife. Land 911. So I said 12 something on it, but this one says 911. And it reminds you of something. Took me a minute because Chris was like, I don't really want to show it because it reminds you of something. And I'm like, I got it. And I was like, a Rat 1? And then I'm like, oh, I see it now. It's kind of Sabenza-ish. Now, it don't feel like Sabenza, y'all. You know, Sabenza is what? 500-600 and up. DLT. Oh, that was this morning. DLT was dropping some Sabenzas with the Spartan helmet, you know, and I think it's kind of like half the helmet, like you're seeing, you know, half of it. I think I looked at them yesterday because I get their emails and they were dropping them today. Of course, I don't have the money because it was, how much was that? 600, something like that. And what money I do have in a few weeks, I've got to buy mics. I need some lapel mics for Blade Show, and I want to get a roving camera for my safety, so I won't have to, you know, be holding the phone or whatever and paying attention to the phone. I need a camera that'll just lock on you, and no matter what you do, moving your hand or whatever, it'll just stay on you, you know. So I don't have to pay attention to it. I can pay attention to walking, because 2 bad knees, 1 really bad, fused ankle, unstable, walking, holding stuff. You know what I mean? Last year I took my dang walker, my rollator, my little rolling thing, and I planned on getting me a really nice carbon fiber one this year because it gave me a little stability. Like if I walk in a store, I get a buggy because it just helps me be stable. And so it gave me stability, and it gave me a seat. Anytime I got too tired, I could sit down. And this, a year ago at Blade Show now, I wasn't in this shape. I was in pretty poor shape, but really was like, my wife's like, are you sure you can do that? And I was like, I'm going to do it one way or another. Well, I had my little rollator, and I just back it up against the wall and sit down, you know, watch people for a little while. And so I plan to be filming this year, and I know enough about video and audio production and watching YouTube for years that sound, if you don't have good mics, it don't matter how good the video is if you can't hear what the people are saying. Because, you know, you're going to hear all that background noise. People, you know, instead of hearing what the person that you're watching is saying. So I'm gonna get a camera, mics. That's a good bit of money right there that I really don't have. But this knife community, being able to study knives, give my brain something to work on, goals to reach, kindness and chats brought me out of some hard, dark days because I couldn't do anything. Um, and um, so, where's my, oh, it's in my pocket. I took my McNeese Dixon with me today. I love that thing. I made 2 designs. I've talked to them, so I had a few people that were worried about me getting sued, or that some people would think I was like using their intellectual property. If you see a knife on a shirt, and certainly if there's a name or anything, I've talked to them, and they said it was okay. Because I'm going to work on designs for McNeese and TKL too, and anybody else that wants me to. And I mean, if they want to give me a little money or a knife, that'd be awesome. But that's not really my plan. My plan is just to help them have some cool designs, because I'm kind of good at it. And so if I can raise the level of their merchandise for them, that's awesome. Now, TKL has some people that do some really cool work. McNeese, I did not notice. I talked to him a lot, but I talked to Amy McNeese the other day, and they make all their shirts in-house. I did not know that. If you can buy blanks and make them yourself, it's a lot easier to get American-made shirts. And I want to sell American-made hats and American-made shirts and American-made blah, blah, blah. It's hard. It's real easy to do a print on demand. You have a store, you do the designs, they print it and ship it. They take the money, give you your little bit, your little percentage, and because they're doing the majority of at least the work of making the shirt, shipping the shirt, right? So you still have to do customer service, deal with your customers, and do the designs, build a store out online. I've done all that. I've spent several months building out a store and doing designs and having to figure out how to get the designs done. I'm going to do some videos on this whole process. And a guy gave me the idea yesterday and said, you should video your progress, how you're doing things, how you're designing things, how the process goes. And I went, that is a great idea. Why am I not making content out of that? Because it's really cool. And I've learned a lot. And I had done a lot already that's helped a lot. But I have learned a lot on computer and design and how to use the computer and do it on a tablet, because I don't have a laptop yet. Something else I need to buy. I need to buy me a laptop, because some things it's almost impossible for you to do unless it's on a laptop or a desktop. And so I'm working on getting that going, open here in the next day or so. It was supposed to be open today and things. Tomorrow I don't have anything to do. I was supposed to meet with my pastor again today. We had to put that off till Saturday. He's got something going on. So let's see. Tomorrow's Thursday and Friday I'm clear. So I'm gonna be making videos and I'm gonna get that shop open. So I'll show y'all what I got laying here. This is, I love this little guy. Yeah. My hands are terrible. So a lot of times it's easier in my left hand. Smooth. This is a Wesson. If you don't know about Wesson, all their knives look pretty much like this so far. I imagine I'll branch out. but they have a very distinctive look to their knives. They have some that are smaller than this. I don't know if they're out yet. I need to look to see if they have the bigger ones. They do some really cool stuff though, like a box that is I think that one of them was like a puzzle box. You had to figure out how to take the box apart to get inside to get the knife. They do collaborations with people. Like that was a collaboration. But this is a little titanium frame lock that I bought from a guy. So I didn't buy it new, you know. But I just love the look of them. They're stubby, and I love little wide stubby blades. And it's a flipper, and it's you know how knives are. They have a feeling and you can't even explain it. It's like, this one's amazing. This one's completely different, but it's amazing. And the action on them is so unique. It's unique. You get a little bit of when it opens. You know what I mean? It's almost like you flung it over. So how do you design that? I don't know. I've got some knife designs in mind. And that's something else I'm going to talk to. Man, if you get to know me, you'll know I'm 100 miles an hour, and I will work myself to death 100 different things if I can get it done. And so there's some knives I'd like to design, and I've talked to Chris at Liver and Kodiak quite a bit. I'm going to talk to him more about. If you watch his channel, he walks you over time. He's been walking you through the process of how this all gets done, from the design to finding a maker, figuring that whole deal out, redesign, prototypes. They're at the prototype stage now, and they've got prototypes. I've had them a month or two, I think. I know they took some to Blade Show, and so I don't think it'll be long. I'm thinking summer their knife will be available, and it'll probably be something like 50 to 200 of them, because I've done some studying on it, and that's kind of how it works. That's why now I understand why you have like Numb Knives come out with this kind of awesome pinch grip lock knife. Oh my God, and I want one so bad, but they sold out in like 10 minutes, and why you're like, why don't you just make more? Well, the contract and the way it is, because these builders, these that are making the knives for you, are making knives for a lot of people, right? So it's not just like they're like, oh, you need more knives? We'll make them tomorrow. It's going to be months out. And you are kind of on the hook for money. So you're like in a position of, how many can I order? There's all these setup fees and all that. That's with all the design stuff, setup fees and all this kind of stuff. And then cost of manufacturing and everything, and shipping. And so it is a pretty, man, what am I doing? My right hand, I've got a problem with my right hand too. It's got arthritis and all kinds of stuff. So my left hand works better than my right hand in a way. Just because I can actually feel my fingers, and they're not stiff as a rock. So I don't know. I passed up several opportunities to buy a left-handed Sabenza, because I was like, yeah, but it's left-handed, and so the price keeps going down and down and down. And I'm like, but it's left-handed. Well, everybody else is saying, but it's left-handed. And I'm like, you know what? I may just buy one of them because I can use that thing left-handed and it'll be right because the lock will be on the right side. And so next time I'm in that situation, if I have the money, I'm probably buying that knife. Although it'd have to be a really good deal. But I have seen some that are, $450, $500 knives go down to 200. I think I'll buy that knife next time. Um, oh God, I didn't even think about this. And time's up, but if y'all want to go over to whatever Kodiak, go ahead. I think I'm gonna hang out a little while, and just anybody that wants to stay for a little while, and um, we got a lot going on in the world, right? We lost Chuck Norris this week. That two strong men of faith that we've lost, him and Charlie Kirk, in the last, how long has it been? 4 months, 5 months since Charlie Kirk was, I'll say murdered, but I really want to say martyred for his faith, and having an opinion and going places to not only talk to people about what he believed, but ask them what they believed and give them a platform to speak what they believe and debate it in person with kindness. He might be snarky at you, or I would be, right? I'm like, man, you just really don't know how ill-informed that is. You think you're informed, but you're not. The information you've gotten is just wrong. It's provably wrong. I could show you. So I get that. But he was never mean, harsh, rude, hateful to any of those young people or older people. He's come to the mic. And it was something like, if you disagree with me, you get to go to the front of the line. I'm standing there. I want to agree with him about something and make a point. I got to wait behind the people that, my neck's always killing me. I got to wait behind all the people that hate him and want to disagree with him. And some of them aren't like that. They just disagree, right? And they would have a good debate, and it would be thought-provoking, right? An old man told me years ago, and you'll hear me say this because I've said it on a video already. You'll hear me say this probably more than once. You'll hear me say things my pop said more than once. He said, when you disagree with somebody on something, just think this thought: they may have a point. You add, I could be wrong, to they may have a point. We can have conversations. If both sides would do that, I could be wrong. I think I'm right. I've done a lot of research. I mean, I know I'm right, but I may not have all the information. And you may have information that I don't have. And I might learn something from it. It may change my perspective on something. If we did that as a nation and did that with each other, things would improve drastically and quickly. If we as a nation would turn back to God and repent of our sins, God would heal this land. I've been running my mouth. I ain't even read nothing nobody said. He had one of Roger's comments. Oh, okay. And another moderator just handled that. I'm going to figure out how I've done it before. I've looked at it before on other people's pages, how to add moderators, and some of you guys that would like to do that, as things go on and there's more people, then maybe we'll it'll certainly be helpful, Let me see. Talkeena. Let's see. Yeah, that was BM. Said, what are we talking about? And Cliff Bro, Chris is Kodiak. Chris is Kodiak. I swear he's survivor. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, he may have a point. I could be wrong, right? In my mind, that's what I remember. But you know how I said my memory. I trust other people's memories more than I trust mine. Minor. Bro, I need to get out for Turkey. I need to get out of Turkey. Please help me. Man, brother. That's a hard one. Hey, brother, email me. Email me at BullDogSmithFarmsEDC and we'll talk. I loved it. I'll tell you this. You know, people like me, probably a lot of us, we've been called racist and homophobic and all those made up words that they make up that they don't have no idea who we are. I've been called all of them, and I love everybody. You know, and my faith tells me to love everybody. So even people that hate me and despise me and are trying to kill me, my enemies. Yeah, Keith, this little Wesson, it's about a $250 knife, but it is awesome. S35VN, I believe. Wesson. Yeah, S35VN steel. I don't know if you can see that. It's hard to show. See if it'll focus on it. Then I can't see. But WESN, Wesson. They make some cool stuff. I need to go look at their stuff because I don't know. I haven't seen their emails or anything lately. Huh? I forget. You forget about stuff. If like they unsubscribe you from YouTube channels, you're like, at some point you're like, I ain't seen that guy in a while. Let's see, Roger Baker. When the manufacturers do a run of knives, they have to retool for the next run, and it takes time to do each run and switch to the next one. All these are done in batches. Yeah, Roger, teach us some more about that. Like, I know they're done in batches, and you know my research has said you can order a 50 knife batch. What I'm remembering is 50 and 200 for some reason. And it makes sense to me because I see like DBD just released his first knife. Well, his collaboration with see names. Oh gosh, they make great knives. But anyway, he released his knife, and the difference they made a few changes, made it a little more ergonomically right, and he loves PEI. What do you call it? The yellow stuff. I can't remember the name of that right now. And I don't love it, but there are some things I see it on, and actually his knife's one of them. I do like it. And I wanted to get one. It's just been money so dang tight. And it's not an expensive knife. It's one of them you can get right at 100, a little under 100 with his code, which I think is DBD. And the other one's just over 100, I think, maybe 119 or something, because I think the coated blade one's a little more expensive, if they still have any. But I remember them saying there was like 50 of each or something like that. No, there was 50 of one. and it was 25 of one, and maybe 50 of one. But then somebody else that I know did a run, and it was 200 knives, and they were gone in no time. 50 surely is gone in no time if you have people that know about it and want to buy it, or like and like the design. Um, the But yeah, I don't know yet. I know a lot of people use Chinese manufacturers, and I imagine the cost is way lower, and probably it's easier to get them to get on board with you, maybe, than it is the few U.S. manufacturers that there are. And I'm not quite sure who all of them are. That's something I would like to research and or listen to y'all for sure. I'm always open to hearing uh, advice and learning, because man, there's always a lot more that you don't know than what you do know. You know, you know what you know when you know when you know. Um, I have one. I don't have many Chinese knives, so of course, this is the little Walmart knife that's $10, and a fantastic knife for $10. I mean, it's not a super knife, but I mean, it's a nice knife, $10 knife, and my daughter used it and she don't clean nothing. Um, Now I remember it's a Ozark Trail, so they call it an Ozark Grail. Because I don't know if you remember, if you were around when this released, the first release of them, a guy, and I can't remember who that was now, he did a video about them and said, wow, this knife's a lot nicer than I would have thought for a $10. Like from Walmart, all the Ozark Trails I bought have been not great. And he said it had D2 steel, which was a brand new thing to Walmart and Ozark Trail, a good steel, and not knowing the heat treat on it. But all the testing people did, it looked like a good knife. And it was their first sort of a bug out copy, you know, sort of a Benchmade bug out copy, but with D2 steel and FRN handles, which I don't love FRN at all. I've not bought a Spyderco because I just don't. Now, anything Spyderco does is better. I don't know how they do it, but their G10 is just, it's just not, it's a different thing to me than G10 on most things. Um, but I have a, um, gosh, what's it called? A Civivi Elementum. That's right, Elementum. I don't say it on it, but because I kept hearing how, man, it's a perfect EDC knife, and I'm like, okay. And actually, Apostle P had a little bundle with a couple knives, and this was one of them. And actually, he's had some nice ones. Sometimes he's like, I don't buy Chinese knives, but he likes all the American made knives. But you could sign your knives to him; he'll sell them. And man, those Chinese brands, and Civivi, and a lot of them, Kaiser. There's a lot of knives out there, and they're so reasonably priced. Um, we now has lost their minds, I think. I don't think they have a Civivi line, or what's the other one? Sin Cut. So they moved Civivi up a notch, put Sin Cut under them, to be the real budget brand. But sometimes the dang Sin Cut's nicer than the Wii, or certainly nicer than the Civivi. It don't make sense sometimes. But this is a good knife. I would have rather had the green one. Like Chris, he ordered this, and like he had one, a black one, but when he gave you one, it was going to be straight shipped from the place. And so I think he said SRM makes this, and I've really been wanting a SRAM, so um, it's cool. It's a little heavy. Um, the I know I'm all over the place. The land that I got from Chris, Professional Dad, it's a little heavy, but the G10's good. It's not Spyderco good, but it's good. It has the texture on it's good. The ergonomics are good because it's basically a Sabenza, you know, without, you know, it could be chamfered right here a little. That could be a little, you know, and the corners could be cut, knocked down some. They're not too sharp, but they could be knocked down a little. Um, and, you know, pocket clip could be better. But you know what I'm saying? This ain't a $200 knife. It's probably a $40 or $50 knife. 60 maybe. Um, it's hard when you're trying to give knives to people and, you know, you don't really have the money. And I know Chris has been in that shape in the near past. It's hard to take money that you buy your knife with and buy a knife for somebody else that you really can't afford. Um, but I want to give some knives away. So I'm figuring out ways to. I'm a deal hunter, and so I've always got my eye on some things that are $60 knives I can buy for 20. Have them shipped. So I may just like have to buy me one so I could show them, and then because I want to give stuff away that I at least like. You know, I gave away a case sodbuster. I like them. Um, I am collecting them. I gave away a, oh, what is it? A Kershaw, but a Chinese Kershaw. It was like almost $50 knife. Both of them were. They were like 45 a piece. So I was like $100, and I hadn't shipped them yet. Um, and so, you know, it's not the easiest thing, but if I can buy a $50 or $60 knife for 20 and have it free shipped, I could do that every week. You know, that's still $100 a month, right? 80. You know, even if it was just that 20. Um, and uh, some things I get a discount because I'm a veteran, but a lot of them are like you can't abuse it. You know, um, there are other ways to find knives, like Midway. Look at Midway USA. They have deals on there sometimes that blow your mind. Um, and I would probably be buying some knives from Midway to give away, you know. Um, and Rough Rider, as far as traditional knives go, Rough Rider and on Smoky Mountain, and I get 10% off there. Um, and there's a lot of places too I can uh, shop as a veteran with no tax. So that's 10. That's almost 10% in Alabama. Um, so if I find ways that I can actually afford them, because I get paid once a month, you know. Um, if I could find a way to get knives and I can afford it, um, until maybe eventually people are maybe helping giving you knives to give away, you know. Um, I think Chris has some people that being really helpful right now, which is awesome. And, you know, stores and brands and different things. They send you things to review and then you give them away. Um, I think that's cool. I don't want to be a salesman for anybody. So, you know, I'm not going to be rude and hateful about anything or anybody's product. But I'll just tell you the truth. If I like it, I'll tell you I like it. Like this little Elementum. Um, it's nothing fancy. It's just a nice little pocket knife. Um, the action is great. It's not, you know, like this little Wesson where you're like, oh my Lord, how do you make the action like that? It's not that. But for a dadgum, at the time these were like $20 probably. Um, maybe a $30 knife now. It's pretty dang smooth. And I have all these hand issues, so you guys have the ability to like one hand knives a lot easier than I can. I can do it. It's just not super easy. My dexterity's bad. All that stuff. What else I got? I got some regular old pocket knives laying here. This knife, I love, and it's, oh God, what do you call it? It's not mother of pearl. So, and this is not an expensive knife either. There are cases like this, and the case trapper like this, $300. And I found one the other day, I think was a medium Stockman, and it was $250. And that won't have all this spine, work and all that. And look at the work on the back of that. I mean, that is a beautiful knife. I bought this one night on a knife auction. The traditional knife auction guys. And this one says Premier Edition on the blade. Let me get my little cloth here, because it's real high polish. If this was a case, it would be a $300 knife. And I think I bought it for $35, $40. I had bought quite a few other knives too that night. Well, like $400 worth. But, I mean, yeah. One of them's over there. It's a stag handled case trapper. It's the biggest stag folding knife that I have so far. Slip joint knife. That polished steel is hard to keep polished. So I don't know if you can see it. Let me get my face out of the way. Maybe it'll focus better. It says Premier Edition. Nice, clip point blade. And a spay blade. And really nice spine work. And the finish, the fit and finish is good. It's really good. So the guy was like, this isn't an expensive knife, Actually, he said, me and another guy were bidding on it, and he said, you bid it up too high, and he lowered the price. He said, you guys bid that up too much. And I'm like, man, that's awesome, because you know what? That built some trust right there. And I have a this is a Rough Rider. I was talking about giving away Rough Riders. If you have never bought one, go buy one. Go on Smoky Mountain Knife Works, look them Rough Riders up, and find you one $15 or $20, as much as $60 maybe, for something real special. Some of them that are $30 or $40, $50 will be on sale for $15 or $20, because they're made in China, of course, but the fit and finish on these knives and the quality of the handle material and stuff, this is like what they call it, something burnt bone, not autumn. I can't remember what they call this one right now. I have some of them, if you know anything about them, that are the bluegill color, and those are popular. People will bid them up like crazy on Whatnot and stuff. I can't go on Whatnot. I will never have a camera. I won't never have food. I mean, it gets out of hand on there. And they mean it to. You know, there is an auction. And in all honesty, I can go buy most of those knives for what they auction for or less. And especially with my discounts that I have a giant list of. And you guys are veterans and you would like to have a list of companies that and what they give for veterans discounts. I'm gonna put one. I've got it, and I've got a list in my notes, but I need to make that where I can copy it and share it. Um, because if you are like, man, I have no idea where to save money. And veterans, I'm just realizing I could have for years. I could have been buying everything: washing machines, refrigerators, clothes, knives, tools, tax free, and at a discount many times. 10, 20, 50% sometimes. It depends, you know. Sportsman Warehouse is on the exchange. The military exchange has just gotten way easier because they just released the app. So you don't have to go, exchange, usexchange.com and figure your way. It's just an app, and it's just like GovX. If you've ever shopped on GovX, and you can save money on there. And hey, I don't mind helping you guys get some things, like GovX and stuff where I can, to some reasonable degree, buy a few knives here and there at a good deal. I don't know if it's still going on right now, but there's a couple Benchmades that were 40, 45. I've bought every Benchmade that I've bought in the last year from GovX at least a 40% discount. I don't know if I'm supposed to be saying that. I already said it. Most of them 50 and over. 50. I think the highest I had off on one was 55%. There was several here this last week, and one of them I really want. It's a fixed blade, and it has a carbon fiber handle and orange blade. Like I've got two Benchmade tagged outs, a little one and a big one. It matches them. So, and I bought them on GovX because if you're a teacher, veteran, first responder, anything like that, you can shop on there. And another one that's hard to find and you won't hear about it nowhere is I appreciate it, Keith. That man, encouragement, y'all have no idea how much it helps. It's called Expert Voice, and they have an app too. Expert Voice. Go on the App Store and look it up. Expert Voice, and you have to, not everything, but some things you have to go and take and read some little literature, like a little lesson, a 5-minute lesson, and take a little test on what you just read, like about case knives or whatever you're looking at, and then that's the expert part. I didn't know that. I'm like, what does that mean? So you're learning stuff about their brand, and then you get a discount of whatever it is, 30% or 50% or whatever. Anytime I'm buying somebody something, I go to the places I can save money first. But I wouldn't mind to buy something for y'all, and you just, I don't know, give me PayPal me money and I'll pay for it or whatever, and save you 10, 20, 30% sometimes, maybe even more, 50% sometimes. I, you know, there's some of them that are like on Expert Voice. I can buy Kershaw's for gigantic, gigantic discount, but I only buy 3 a year. So see that limits it to I'm gonna buy knives for me. I'm gonna buy 3 Kershaw knives this year. They're gonna be however much off, you know. So um, for real, and I'm gonna try to do this up front more often. If you have, if you'd like something and I can get it at a discount, you know, and you just cover the cost of it and shipping, I'll do that for you. This little case knife, it's a baby butter bean, but you know, it looks like a canoe. To me, it looks just like a little tiny canoe. I love the butter beans. I got to get me one. This is the only one I have, this little one. So I have a hard time with my hands. That's why I got this knife pick. It's a little pry bar, but it's really to pick, not get in that nail notch and open them. And even that's hard for me. This little small blade on here is so tight. It's hard for me to open. See? Can't hold on stuff. But I love the color on this one. There's a lot of the greens and green blues that I love. And this one's called Mediterranean Blue. Jig bone. And what is that jig? That's not a peach seed jig. I think it's not a deep canyon jig. It might be a canyon jig, something. I need to study up on that stuff more. And I want to get the book of how you tell age knives, because I always end up looking them up. And I really haven't kept up with it, like to write it down. But I love this little knife. And it's just little. I've got a, what is that one? A mini pocket hunter, you know, the little bitty hunter, and it's stag. And I love stag, and I love pretty bone, and I love carbon fiber, and you know, all these cool things. Let me see what I got. One more here, maybe. No, that's that one. Yeah, I do. There's this one. I don't have that stag handle one over. I just got all these in and did some unboxings a week or so ago, and so they're still sitting here. But this case trapper is called, oh dang it, green something burnt bone. I can't remember the name exactly, but it's green, but then that cool burnt brownish bone with the natural bone. It's just a beautiful knife. And most of the cases I have just have a double X, or you know, this kind of regular case shield, but I'm beginning to chase shields. One guy that I watch had a knife one day, and it was a trapper he built. He said this did not come this way. I put I think it was red bone maybe, and a Confederate flag shield. And I was like, why do you want $200 for that? It's not even made from the factory, you know, or a custom. It's just, he had parts, he built a knife, right? And he said, it's all about the shield. And I was like, really? People pay that much for that shield? He said, they're rare, they're hard to find. And when you find one, it's because it's on a knife that is a mess. And so you basically tear the knife apart to get the shield. You know, I mean, you're just taking the shield because the knife's all wore out or whatever, and using it on a new knife. And I didn't quite understand it right then, and so I went and did some little research, just for like 15 minutes maybe, and was like, oh heck, yeah. If you find one of them, for real one that were made in like 78, something like that, I think. I knew at one point. Um, and if they're a real one, they're like 350. And I'm typically like, I'm not going to buy a knife just because it's an older model for 10 times the price of when I can go buy a new one. I'll just buy the new one because I'm just looking for the pretty, you know. But there are some things like that. I got it back and it was gone. He had sold it. And I was like, damn, I wish I would have just bought it. But I just didn't understand it yet. You know, I'm still learning a lot. I've been carrying case pocket knives all my life, but I'm still learning. Matter of fact, I really didn't know nothing about them in reality. I knew I liked them, the steel, great knives to use. I gutted a mini hog and a deer and skinned a turkey with them, you know, but I didn't know all the technicalities and a lot of their story that I've learned. So um, I want one of them case strappers with the Confederate flag shield. I'm gonna find me one and I'm gonna buy it. Um, but then there's Remington knives I want to collect, and you know, uh, then there's all these modern knives I want to collect, and fixed blades that I want to collect. Um, and then I've got other more important things to do right now, and video stuff is important. So, um, I'm, you know, I'm just kind of working my way. Oh, I can show you this. My cousin Keith, if you're still here, he loved this little pick, and it is a Mammoth Mike made it. I believe, oh gosh, what's his name? Mike. Guy I bought it from. Dang, I can't remember right now. Um, I think they collaborated to build it. It's handmade. Like it's not like they just bought these cheap picks and then put scales on it. It's made from scratch, and it's what did he told me to steal. I can't remember. I don't think it's printed on it. I remember him telling. This is why I need to get my little case notebook out back here and start writing everything down and putting information with it. But says Mammoth Mike on it, and has George Bulldog's shield, and he said they even made that shield. I I don't know, but he said they made that Georgia Bulldog shield. And then it has a little Georgia Bulldog engraving right there. And I don't think you ever got one, did you, Keith? If you're still here. It could, I'm going to get me a little sort of keychain to put it on just to make it easier to keep up with. But I like it. And I really want some Mammoth Mike case knives. There's several people out there that take case knives and customize them, and Mike puts mammoth tooth on them and mammoth tusk, and the other day I think that was him had a big spearfish, not a sailfish spike. I can't remember what you call it, and I've mounted several of them. But swordfish, that thing's like that long, like 4 foot, I think. And he was saying he was going to make knives out of that. And they are cool. When he does cross cut mammoth teeth. Instead of the normal way they are, it's sort of like a wavy pattern. He does a cross cut on it, and it's just random. It's kind of like deer antler or jig bone, sort of random. That random nature made that, right? Those are the ones I love. You get on his auction, they're high. People bid them right on up there. They go right past my limit and just keep going. On Mike Newland, that's who I got this from. Mike Newland. If you go on Mike Newland's thing, you're not going to maybe see as much variety. I don't know, but he sells some of Mike's knives, and it seems to me like people like I think he just puts a price on them. It's like $200, $250. Still a lot of money, but it's better 300, 350, 400, 450, and I'm like, I stopped at 200. This was my first automatic knife, and I haven't even done a thing on it yet. I may do that. But it's a Benchmade. I cannot remember what they call it because it's a weird name. But I liked the color, the green and black. I liked, and I thought, it's got that G10. It sort of has a wood grain pattern to it, and it has a lock. So automatic, so it won't fire. If you're afraid, it's in my pocket, it might go off. You can lock it, and it won't go off. You unlock it, push that little guy to the front, and unlock it. Yeah, that's right. And it'll fire. Get a hold of it, right? Come on, hands. I don't think the lock clicked. Nope, it didn't. Now I locked it and can't get it unlocked. Let me see if that'll work. Dadgummit. I done messed up the show. Locking the stupid thing. There we go. Okay. It just wasn't wanting to pop for me or click. I have a little hard time. I bought this knife because I was like, man, with my hand problems, an automatic sure would make it easier for me to get a knife open in a hurry if I had to. Yes and no. Because I can't feel my dang fingers and my thumb, and I can't feel if I'm on the button or not. So if I'm not looking at it, I can't tell if I'm doing it right, And this thing, when I got it, I thought that is the hardest firing dadgum automatic knife. And it is. It does fire hard, but smooth. At first, I was like, dang, that thing will jump out of your hand. I'm kind of, you get used to it. We've got our little butterfly, and this really nice little just drop point blade. And I love a little belly right there. That's just kind of my perfect blade. I'm loving some of the Tontos and other stuff now, but, and I love a clip point and I love Bowie, but a drop point to me is just the best, great utilitarian, skinning. You could skin with it, and you can do everything you do with a knife, and including skinning and stuff, and gutting a deer without getting into its guts, because of that drop point going up. At least give you a better chance of not. I'll do a little review on this, but I loved that, like, the button, like, it's olive drab, and then the button's like FDE colored. And the clip is FDE colored. And I really like that clip. And it's a deep carry, but not a super deep carry, but it's a deep carry Benchmade clip. And here's my problem. Why not just FDE the thing? Like, why put black screws? And it's fine, right? It looks good. It's a good combination, black, FDE, and green. But there's very little FDE on it. I mean, the button. You really don't notice it in a way. Kind of just blends in. But then the pivot's black. All the screws are black. That lock button's black. So, they're just using stock items for all the hardware. I would say Benchmade. Why don't you color them to match? You're Benchmade. You can do it. I would do the blade FDE too, because that's one of my favorite colorways, and I've had such a hard time trying to get them. I love River's Edge Cutlery when they do their avocado drops. They're sort of, green and tan. I haven't gotten one yet. This year, hopefully. If I can get ahead of the game and have money. So what I've been doing is I've found knives I want, and they're going to disappear, and I've got people to work with me so that I can make payments. They'll hold the knife that's going to sell out in no time. They'll pull me one and hold it and let me make payments. I found some awesome people that have helped me with that. And so I was able to get in on that drop. But then it's like I owe money for a knife that came out back here, and I'm now getting it 2 months later, or a month and a half later, a month later, right? And that time, a lot of stuff came out that I would have loved to jump on. But, I've got really limited funds. And, I got a couple more over here. I'll show that one. I'll show this one. We're sitting here talking about knives. I might as well show some of them. This is my Spyderco PM3 paramilitary 3, the littler one. So, it goes paramilitary is the big one, then paramilitary 2. The military, I think, is the biggest one. PM2, and then the PM3. It's going down the sides. And that little round hole, it ain't the prettiest thing in the world. I thought, why do people even buy them? For a long time. Then I said, there must be something to this. And I bought one. And I'm like, oh, if you really want a good quality, durable knife with great ergonomics and great action, easy to use and carry, look at Spyderco if you haven't. If you'll buy one that they make in China, you can get into one for 57, 60, 70, 80 bucks. If you don't want to buy a Chinese knife, you can buy their American-made knives, and it depends on the model where they make it, or their Taiwan knives made in Taiwan, which are very good. All their knives are good. Their Chinese knives are good, right? But all of them I have so far are American made in Taiwan, Taichung. And they're just amazing knives. Like I said, this G10, I don't know, they use some different formula or something, the texturing's great, but just the feel of it is luxurious. G10. It's weird. I mean, this Benchmade's G10 too. And it's fine. It just, not a lot of grip to it. Feels a little plasticky, kind of. And certainly the G10 on this Civivi, I'd say a little bit better than what's on that Benchmade. And on this land, it's actually pretty darn good. But it's in line with like the Civivi as far as the feel. They feel almost identical. This is a whole nother thing. They should have a different name for it. Spidey 10 or something. Spidey G. Because I don't know, it's something to it. And of course it has a compression lock right there. You can see how that works. You push that tab to the side and it unlocks the blade. So, you know, you're holding it. All this is always hard for me. I need to get some OCD for ECD makes those those all plastic pieces for it, or G10 I think. They make it, they give this a button where you have a button to push instead of having to reach in and get that little piece of metal there to disengage it. But smooth, drop shutty. Oh, come on. Again, my hands. Drop shutty. I'm not so good at all that, you know, flip flap, flip flap, flip flap. I wonder if I could do it with my left hand. Let's see. then you're like, I'm not left-handed. And then I'd have to hold the button in with my thumb. You know what I'm saying? Some things I can do left-handed pretty good. I can shoot left-handed real good because my right eye's messed up. I had a mini stroke and it messed up my nerve. Right where you focus on a crosshair. But PM3, man, I would suggest anybody buy one of these. I have a Shaman. I think it's awesome. I have a PM2. I have a Chaparral. That's gorgeous. And I'm wanting to get a dadgum. What's the name of it? One that has the slide lock, you know, like a, but it goes in a different direction, which everybody says makes it better. Everybody loves it. So that's my next Spyderco. Want to pick up a cool one. This one, by the way, is a Big Brown Bear one. And it says that on the back of the blade, the BBB. Big Brown Bear BBB. So this is 15V and G10. Limited edition, right? They only made so many of them. And I got a hold of one of, at least this one. There's a bunch of these I like because I love brown. And I love their black blades. There's several other black blades I want to get. But I do love this knife. And that 15V is supposed to hold the edge from now till eternity. So I should be good. Yeah. Because I'm the last person that's ever going to die. Me and the last roach would be fighting over the last Twinkie on our Spyderco, man. Yeah, let's see. And what else? Oh, I got this. And I've showed a couple of these. I've done reviews on them. This was my second automatic. And it fires even harder. If I can get my hand on the button right. Fires even harder. Let's see. Let's do a little comparison. Close this one. Starts getting confusing, all these locking mechanisms. A little bit harder. Then I got a hold of a Microtech and a Hinderer. And woo! Man, are they hard firing. And then I started getting some Protects. And they fire really hard, but it's so smooth, it don't feel hard. It's weird. They are a different animal. But this guy, let me find the button there, is my Doug Ritter Hogue, and he designed the Freak, I believe it is, at was it the Freak or is that other one? I'm getting things mixed up. At Benchmade, and then this when they parted ways, they changed that design a little, and he went and changed this a little, and made this design. And where did I buy it? DLT. I think I bought this at DLT. I think there. If you look them up, this is a great knife. It's a pretty big knife. I love contoured grips, but they do add a little bit of girth, you know. And it's not the lightest knife, but it is light for the size of it. It's a big knife. I mean, it's not a huge knife, but it's a full-size knife. And it's got MagnaCut steel. Right there, it says MC on the blade. So it says Doug Ritter, and it says MC right there. I don't know if you can see it. I think you can see that a little bit, maybe. That's MagnaCut. I just put MC on there. And then it says Hogue USA on the back. And they exclusively sell them. If you Google it, Doug Ritter Hogue Ritter, they'll come up, and you'll see there's only one place to buy them. They're exclusive, and some of the proceeds go to the Knife Rights organization, which he started. So you're helping support our knife rights by buying one of these. This is, I think, $250. I believe is what it was. I couldn't get a deal there, but I really wanted one. And this particular one, Hogue does this cool thing, and there's a lot of their knives I'd like to get because they do them like this, and it's carbon fiber, but then it's milled in this awesome pattern that just makes it shine like little diamonds. It's really cool. Deep carry pocket clip, you know. Really cool drop point blade. I love that blade, a fat blade. It's nice, high flat grind. It feels kind of light, but not real light. It feels like it could do hard work. And the screws and everything are like it's not purple. What do they call that? It's a purpley blue. It's more blue, but I can't remember the name right now. It's stone washed. The stone wash on it's really nice. The texture on it's really cool. Um, and they're a little bit tactical, a little bit, self-defensey kind of, um, and hard use. Like you could beat on it. Um, I wouldn't. I wouldn't hesitate to just do about anything with this. You know, um, carve, work around camp. Uh, I, you shouldn't be batoning with a dang folding knife. But if you had to, I could see it. You know, I'm not out doing hard use tests, so yeah, in the future I may do some of that. I think I may do some if I can get the money together here to plant. Um, I'd like to plant some corn, plant some tomatoes, and all. The last year I didn't get it planted at all, and the year before, well, when I had my foot got hurt and it all this happened, sepsis and all, I had the most beautiful corn you've ever seen. Ears that big around, just ready to pick. And my wife said she brought me a piece of corn because I was sick, and she brought me. We didn't know it was sepsis yet, and she said, "Do you think this corn's ready to pick?" And I was like, "It needs about 2 more days." And then I ended up in the hospital, and was there for a month or a month and a half, something like that. That time. Then there was another round later. But I love to grow stuff, and so I may just film some of that. My buddy Tom comes over to help me get my tractor going. I'm gonna call him tomorrow, and and tell him I think I can get to it now. I got bush hog to fix, and then work on my tractor a little bit, and I may go to bush hogging and tilling, and then seed. But I need money for seed, fertilizer, all that stuff. Um, Diesel. My wife's like, just plant a little garden. I'm like, okay. um, it takes a lot of room to grow corn. Uh, I mean, you can grow a little patch corn, but you don't need one row of corn in any circumstance. You need sort of a square or a rectangle, because the way that they pollinate, the wind pollinates them, so they need to be in a bunch to get pollinated. Um, and then I love to grow tomatoes and peppers, and I love to grow beans and peas. And one of my favorite things to grow is snow peas, but you have to plant them. I planted them a little bit too late last time because I was like, you got to plant them in spring. So it was like maybe early March, and everybody's going, you can't plant nothing. It's going to freeze again probably, and it might. Thing with them is they like it. So next year, hopefully, if I'm in the shape and everything's how I would like it to be, I'm gonna be planting them in about February, something like that, maybe even January. I'm gonna try to overwinter onions and see. We're on a line where it's like, maybe if we have a mild winter, they'll survive. If we have a terrible winter, they won't. So then you're planting them again. Um, I'd rather not do that. And everything you plant costs money. Seed costs money. Onion starts cost money. Everything costs money. Um, but I think I've got a better schedule of planning if I could just get to it and have the money to do it. Well, guys, I went way over, and I even went over to past 8 Central. And I know most everybody went and jumped on something, and that's what I would do. I just was like, yeah, I'll go on a little bit and talk about some more stuff. I may just try to start earlier next week, and I'll look at different times and see when maybe I could do something. And I may just do a few of these a week and do some during the day, and just talk and stuff. And then I do one once a week or something giveaway. If I can't afford that, maybe I'll just have to do it once a month. But I'd rather give away something nice once a month than some junk, you know. But the stuff that I think I'd like to give away, even that I think I could afford, maybe on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis, is still really good knives. There's a lot of knives out there, $40, $50 these days, that kill it, you know. So, Mo Patty, I am in Alabama. Harsh Raw, hello. Harsh Agrawal. Is that right? At Mo Patty, I love it. Thanks for stopping by. I love to see you. I've just been talking a little bit about knives and stuff that's going on lately with losing our good friend Chuck Norris, and still didn't get to the stuff about Bark River Knives, and that's a shame. A lot of hurt feelings and a lot of messed up reputations, and hard. Harsh Agrawal. You got to explain that to me. I love names. Like my Bulldog Smith things. This was my dad's nickname. Of course, they put it on me eventually, and then me and my late wife used to raise English bulldogs, and I was always like, I want to have a country store and diner called like Bulldog Smith's Country Store and Pop's Diner. My Pop used to take me to Greasy Spoons when I was a little kid all the time, and so I love the stories of people's lives, But yeah, I'm in Northeast Alabama. I'm about an hour from Huntsville and about an hour from Chattanooga, and just like 15 minutes from Fort Payne, Alabama. Fort Payne's a relatively well-known place where the band Alabama came from, where they live. They all live here, and so when I was a kid, it was my dream to meet Alabama. Now I just get to see them around town sometimes, and at church things and singings and stuff like that, bluegrass things. See Randy quite a bit. So that's cool. I love that, because being a young kid that loved music and then becoming a musician and then having some success in music business, and certainly a whole lot of blessings and great memories. I respect talent. How's the weather doing here? It's been great. The last couple of days has been it got a little warm. It got up in the 80s, but then it's been like 65, and then I think one day here it's supposed to get down to about 50 as a high, 56, something like that. So that's just perfect spring weather. It's not too hot. It's not freezing. We had a pretty mild winter this year. And so I should have planted onions last fall, but I wasn't able. But I'm going to do some. Hopefully, if I can get the money together, you're just talking a few $100s, but time you get into fertilizer stuff as you go through the season, it adds up, But I'd like to do some filming of what I grow, how I grow stuff, and I certainly want to do these interviews with people in the community, and shine a light on people that are doing cool things. Good people doing good things is kind of what I'm looking at. And I do it on Facebook and stories some, and I call it Hometown Heroes. And and so I want to shine a light on people that are doing cool stuff, you know. And and maybe I'm talking about knife makers, people that run knife stores, YouTubers, people that just watch YouTube and comment all the time. And I want to learn people's stories and tell their stories. That's kind of I'm a storyteller. And then on the other side of life, I've got a lot of preacher friends, and I've got a preacher, my best friend, that I want to do a show with, like maybe a weekly show, and he can supply the solid biblical foundational truth of, you know, what Scripture says, and then I have a perspective, and I think we'll do something cool again. And if we get on a roll, it's hilarious. um, so, um, I used to do, let's see, I was in the Marines. When I was young, I did drywall. My dad and granddad owned a heavy equipment business, so I learned how to run heavy equipment. They didn't want me to do it because it kills your body. I ended up doing that in a semi truck. But um, I was in the Marines. Then I worked drywall for a while, roofing for a good long while in Florida, both of them. And then I worked for Home Depot. And I worked at Home Depot for 23 years, I believe. And at the same time, I had a band, and Home Depot was really good at letting me have time because, you know, in the beginning, it would be just like, I need the weekend off. You know, I'll work the weekends I'm not playing, I'll work because I need the weekends off that I play. And then it started being to where we would travel and maybe I needed a week off and do several shows around Florida. Then it got to a point where it was like we were taking 2 weeks off and we were traveling with Marshall Tucker and 38 Special and Molly Hatchet and, you know, Leonard Skinner and doing shows around Florida. That kind of then led into New Orleans, Jacksonville, Georgia, Atlanta, Alabama, and we were, you know, and we were set. I was working on, well, I had a deal to go out on Montgomery Gentry's first tour. And we were going to be their opening act for their whole tour. And my buddy was an alcoholic. So, and I had a deal with Government Mule, which, if you don't know, they're fantastic. If you like good, kind of hard, blues oriented rock and a little Allman Brothers flavor, but harder, Government Mule was awesome. And Warren Haynes is the singer guitar player. He's the guy that replaced Dwayne Allman and the Allman Brothers. He's done that for decades. And their bass player was Woody Allen. No, Alan Woody. Woody Allen's the freaky guy. Alan Woody. I have two signatures on my Gibson Thunderbird bass, and they're Alan Woody and Leon Wilkinson from Leonard Skinner. And I loved both of those guys. Got to know them pretty well, and they both had issues that I, praise the Lord, um, never got into, the drugs and alcohol. Um, Tell me a little bit about, are you a young guy, Harsh? Um, yeah, so I did a lot of stuff and lived 8 different lives, and I shot archery semi-pro. I was an like sniper and kind of, and hunted and fished like it was my job. Did the tournament fishing thing for a while. Shot the archery tournaments and loved those. Um, Somehow I did all that at one time. There was, oh, and I owned a taxidermy business. And I mounted mostly in Florida, mostly deer, hogs, bass, mostly. Um, Raccoons, bobcats, foxes, that kind of stuff. And occasionally a saltwater fish like sailfish or something. All at the same time. I was a busy guy. Um, you're 22. Where do you live at? 22-year-old guy. Man, got the world by the tail. You got Lord willing, the creek don't rise. If y'all don't know, that don't mean the water in the creek. It means the Indians, the Creek Indians. The saying came from that. I'll be there, Lord willing, and when the creek would rise, they would go on warpath. Dangerous times. You might not make it to your next meeting. You know what, brother? I have been uncle to so many young boys. My nephews, they're really my cousins, because I was the only child, so I don't have brothers and sisters to have nephews. But my little cousins, my first cousin's sons, um, I've toted them all over the world hunting and fishing. Neighbor boys, their dad didn't hunt and fish, I'd take them. One of my little proteges, I guess, his name's Nick Teeny, and they were from New York. His dad was just a city guy, and he was like, my son wants to learn to hunt and fish. And me and one of my best friends, Sean, who was a roadie in my band, and there's a big story there, but that's for later. We just took him under our wing, started taking him hunting, and he's a police officer now. Has a beautiful daughter that's probably 10 now, and the time's passed. And he is a wonderful man, and hunting, fishing, freak like we were. Oh, you're from India. That's so cool. Planning to move out of here as ASAP. Can we connect if you don't mind, if it's too early to ask for it? No. Email me. And I'm on Instagram, BullDogSmithFarms. And you can email me at BullDogSmithFarms@gmail.com. So just my channel name, BullDogSmithFarms. Um, I know enough about India because I love people. I love the world, and so I have a lot of friends because of Facebook and stuff, and like things like this. I have a lot of friends in Pakistan and Nigeria, Syria, Israel, and a lot of people who've moved here from those places. I have several friends from Israel, and I love Israel. It's part of my faith. But yeah, I know I know it's a hard life. Um, I had a couple young guys on today earlier from um, Turkey, and now it's pronounced Turkiya. Um, but the world's in a terrible place, and it's hard everywhere. But people in America don't know how blessed they are. They don't know. They don't know how blessed they are and where their blessings came from, and where the ideas for the freedom that they just take for granted and act like everybody has it. They have no idea where those came from. And if you don't know where your blessings came from and your history, how do you preserve it? You know, um, it's just looking for collapse, failure, division. So you're seeing all over the world division, and the worst ideas in the world getting roots, and the best ideas being, if not murdered, strongly attacked. Let me see, this says. Oh, people from India living here? Brother, I've never seen a more successful people. Like I was saying, I think, you know, people that were born here, a lot, not all, many of us know our history. We care about the truth, and we seek it. Um, but a lot of people just don't know their blessings. They have no idea how blessed they are. So I think part of it is work ethic. From what I've seen, people coming here from India, is the work ethic and the family working together. You can be on the outside of that and look at that negatively and go, they won't hire anybody but their family. But they're supporting their family. The family is working together to build something. And man, is that a powerful weapon. You can achieve anything if you have a family. And it don't even have to be blood family. Friends, teammates that will work together. In my music experience, when you had that group of people that melded together and worked towards the same goal, you could achieve anything. When you had people flaking off or thinking, I'm the most important one, and not team, but thinking me and I instead of we and us, um, you fail. Um, so if you have family here, brother, you got it made. If not, um, and as Americans, we complain about this. They help people from other countries more than they do us. They won't help us start a business, but they will help you start a business. But that's a blessing to you if you come here and you can get a tax-free loan, to start a business, and there's benefits that help you. And I'll tell you this: a lot of people, and they complain about people like me. You hate immigrants. That is not true. Um, we don't want people to break the law. Their first act in coming here, and that's true anywhere. Their first act is to break into your country, and then you've got to steal somebody's ID and use their social security number. All these are crimes. That's not the way to start out somewhere. So when you come here legally, I don't know anybody that doesn't welcome you. And especially if you come here with the intent to achieve and to find your dreams and build your dreams, man, everybody loves that. Um, if you come here and your idea is just to live on welfare, nobody wants that, right? It's like I'm going to work to pay for people that are on welfare that won't work. They're young, they're strong, they could work, they won't. And that you don't have to be from another country to be like that. Many Americans are like that, and it's not no one color either or one, you know, ethnic background. It's all kind of people that take advantage. The system lets you take advantage, so that's conversation. But um, I'm telling you, I have not seen any. I don't think I know any Indian people that are like failures. They're like all successful. Um, there's an Indian family that lives just down the mountain from us in a little town called Scottsboro, and they own the local movie theater. Just about, I worked at movie theaters for a long time. They used to all be owned by Americans. Now, just about every movie theater chain, from small chains that are just like a family owns this little small chain, maybe they've got 3 or 5 or 15 movie theaters, all the way to the big, giant movie theater brands, all owned by Indians. So eventually, I managed, after I left Home Depot, I managed movie theaters for a while. I drove a truck for a long time too. And then um, when my body was dying, I came back home and I managed at Tractor Supply some and I tried some movie theaters and the culture not um, in some instances the, the older people from India were kind of harsh towards customers. The younger guys were not. And then I worked for a bigger movie chain that's also owned by Indians, but it wasn't just a small family thing. So there was all kinds of people that worked there, and I really liked the culture there, the work culture amongst the employees. It was really nice. I was I didn't understand yet that my body was falling apart and my mind wasn't. I wasn't being able to think on my feet and multitask like I used to. There was some stuff going on that I didn't know understand yet. That's good 10, 12, 15 years ago. Yep, that's right. Just being born here, you have a head start in life, and you have freedoms that other people don't have. Um, there's so many young people here that are just lazy, um, entitled. They think the world owes them a living, um, that they don't have to work for anything. And I can tell you what not working will do for you. It will make you miserable. God made us to work, to achieve, to learn. And when you won't, you will just dig a hole of depression for yourself because you have no self worth. You have no purpose in life. And I've seen it way too much, and I've unfortunately seen it in my own child, my own children. I got you. I understand what you mean. What's my what's my opinion on putting boots on the ground in Iran? I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I was in the military. I don't want. I don't want war at all, ever. sometimes you have to do what you have to do. And I, 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 I think Iran's been, since I was a kid, I remember the Iranian um, uh, hostage situation in 1977. Um, I remember our president driving our economy in the ground and our military down to the point they couldn't even do one little small rescue mission. Um, and I remember the Iranian people being awesome and having a great life. Um, and you look at the photos from back then, and women are walking around in just normal dresses, and it's just normal. It's like you could be looking at 1950s America, and then a few years later, Islam really putting a hurting on people, um, and taking everybody's rights away. And so I want everybody to be free and be able to pursue their dreams and goals and achieve them and have the freedom to do that. And, you know, you might be a hard worker and and achieve great things, and somebody else might not. Somebody else might be a okay worker and only achieve this, and somebody else might not want to work at all and they don't achieve anything. I think you should get what you earn, and if you earned it, it's yours. Um, and and then when you can't, you should be willing to help other people. Give them a hand up. Give them advice. Help them with money if they need it, if you can. You know, but we all have things we can do to help other people. You know, um, so man, I don't want to see. I don't want to see the bombing going on, because it's easy to get sucked into these things and not be able to get out. If you don't have an exit plan, a mission plan. We're going there to do this, not this, and this. And you get in a war that lasts for 20 years, and young boys and young ladies are getting killed on both sides, right? Um, and I don't care who you are. I don't care if you come and liberate people. If you start to killing their children, they're going to blame you and they're going to hate you. So, um, I think it, the world, it's a hard place, and it's getting harder every day. But I love the people of Iran, and I want to see them have freedom again. Um, and I don't want to see Israel being attacked all the time. And now it's the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and even an island 4,000 kilometers away. And um, um, I would like to see this thing get wrapped up quick and peace break out. And um, I have some biblical views that I think, there's always unintended consequences to everything that happens. But, and so I kind of think I know some of what's coming, um, at least in general. So I'm worried about it. But my main worry is people. And I'm a Christian. I talk about Jesus all the time. So um, I I have something that I think I would like everybody to have, and it's because of that faith. Um, and I know the people that own a movie theater down in Scottsboro um, are Hindu, and so they have very different beliefs than I do. But the son I really like. Um, he's a great guy, and he's smart. He's I would say brilliant. Um, you know, if I'm understanding what you're saying about people, you like you're a individualist and an introvert, so you're not like me. I'll talk to anybody, right? I've never meet a stranger. Um, my wife's the opposite of that. She's kind of introvert. Um, but and America is used to be about rugged individualism. You know, every man pull yourself up, get to work, and achieve, and have the right to achieve. You know, when my people came here, some of my people came here. People think only black people came on slave ships, but that's not true. A lot of Irish and Scottish people came here on slave ships from England. Um, they stole their land and got tired of having to fight with them, and so they just put them on slave ships and sent them to America and the islands, um, Haiti and stuff like that. Um, and so, um, you know, when you come here with the dream, and that's what generations of immigrants have done, come here with a dream of I can have opportunity there, not a guarantee of success, the opportunity to succeed. And you know, look, I have a lot more talent than I wasted my talent in a lot of ways. It just, you know, life happens. But I man, I've achieved a lot of things and I'm proud of that. You know. Let me think about the job scenario, how the job market is. I'll tell you this: businesses can't get people to work. Um, somebody that is a hard worker, has a good work ethic, is honest and decent, you don't have no problem finding a job. Um, there's so many young people now that, first off, they started saying that jobs that are like very entry level, like what you do when I was in school, your first job, you're just learning how to show up on time, do tasks like do what you're told, and complete task, and you're learning basics. Well, people can't pay $20 an hour if they're paying somebody that works in a factory that has experience, a lot of 10, 20 years experience, $20 an hour. They can't pay a kid that's still in high school $20 an hour just to sweep at McDonald's, you know. But this is what the government's pushed for, and so it's made it to where fast food here now costs a fortune. You're better off to go to a sit down restaurant than a fast food restaurant. It won't cost you any more because they're paying people that are just starting out too high of a wage, and so then they can't afford it, and so the businesses are going out. Um, but uh, we've COVID and all the stuff our government did created a lot of businesses going out of business. Um, but it's really good right now. It's moving in the right direction. Um, if we would just do the things that make sense economically, it would boom. But we're fighting people who their policies destroy the economy every time. I would say, on average, wages here right now is between $10 and $20 an hour. So, depending on where and what you're doing, what experience you have and stuff. You're talking somewhere probably around 12 to 15, $18 average. I would say like 12 to 17 is a good mid ground. Um, there are people making a lot more than that, you know. And if you haven't or learn to drive a truck, as long as you can speak English, um, read English so that you can pass the test and read road signs and stuff. We're having a lot of problem with states have given people that came here illegally licenses and they don't even know how to read English. How can you read a road sign, or understand the rules of the road driving a gigantic 80,000 pound vehicle? And so we've had a lot of people get killed by drivers that don't even speak English. But if you speak English, can read English, have a good work ethic, man, you can achieve anything here. And if you don't know how to speak English, I would do that because it's an English speaking country, you know. And I know a lot of places around the world, people know several languages. If you live in Europe, you know all kinds of languages, right? I have a friend that's from Ireland, and she knows like four languages at least. You know, she knows English, Gaelic, French, Spanish. I think she mentioned another one. you know, but because you know Europe, say Europe's the size of America, but each country has its own language. It's like each state here having its own language, and we've held on to the you know one language thing at least somewhat. Spanish is big, but you really need to. Our road signs ain't in Spanish. They'll give you the test in another language, which I don't understand. If you can't take the test in English, how can you read road signs? And some jobs don't require that, right? But driving a semi does. And I'll tell you what, drivers make good money today. They make really good money because it's getting harder and harder to find drivers. Yeah, yeah. If you're not like just spend a fortune on clothes and just throwing money away, and you just need a small place to live. You're single, and just live a normal lifestyle. You can have a good life on 12, 15, $20 an hour. Good life. Um, and that you're just starting in life. So you only grow from there, you know. Um, and if you go to school or whatever, I don't know how much school you have or what experience you have, but depending on that, it could be a lot more than that. If you already have experience and can you have a degree in something or a license and you can get that here quickly, you know, you just do what you have to do for the time being until you get your degree, certificate in welding or whatever you like. There's all kinds of training. Hey, the trades like plumbing, carpentry, um, roofing, uh, electrical work, all those the the people that do that are getting old, and young people aren't taking those jobs up. Um, and so young people getting into the trades, go to a trade school and learn how to be an electrician, and then be a journeyman, and learn. You have to get paid less, but you're learning, and then you move up. And man, I'll tell you, electricians in this country make a great living. Pipe fitters that you weld pipe and stuff in like nuclear plants and stuff. Um, Even carpenters, plumbers and stuff. anybody that is handy and can do things that people need done because, you know, they don't know how to do it themselves, you can make a good living. And it's getting more and more so to where those people are going to have to get paid even more because there's less people doing it. Yeah, we've had a lot of that lately. Our last administration basically opened the gate and just said, "Come on in," illegally, and so and then it didn't require anything of people. Like, you have to learn English, especially if you're going to get a CDL license. I had a CDL license. It was hard to get. So they've been just handing them out in some states like California, um, Illinois, just handing people licenses that shouldn't be on the road in a car, much less a gigantic semi. Um, and that's got to change. They've been, they're doing a lot of uh, deporting people, you know, but man, people that come legally are, I don't know anybody that's not like, man, welcome. You want to come here legally, learn the language, be a good citizen, abide by the laws, you know, live a good life. Everybody loves to see that and see success, especially young people. So many of the young people here, it encourages me when I meet a young person from the United States or anywhere really that's on the ball. And they have that ability to delineate between what's not true and what's true. Um, Seeking knowledge, seeking it, you know. Um, Man, the world's your oyster. And you're so young. I'll tell you, this time passes like, whew. I was 20 yesterday, it seems like. Having a ball, playing music. Just a kid. Um, but I'm gonna get off here just about 8 more minutes. um, but I'm glad I stayed on. I was going to get off a long time ago, but I'm glad I stayed on because this is a really important conversation. You do, brother. Like I said, email me at BullDogSmithFarms@gmail.com and we'll talk. And yeah, if you know, there's anything I can do to help, I don't know what it would be, but if there's anything I can do to help, I surely will. You know, at least I could, if you know who I need to talk to, the department I need to talk to, I'll talk to them. You know, probably next Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Uh, Probably 4 or 5 Central Time in the United States. So Eastern Time is the East Coast. That would be 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. Probably next Wednesday. I may go live sometime in between, just here and there, like during the day and stuff. Kind of behind on videos and stuff, so I'm gonna probably spend a bunch of time doing videos, and then in a few weeks probably start doing some more extra lives. Um, you can email me anytime, and I don't know when I'll get it. I've got I've got Instagram. You can I'm Bulldog Smith Farms, Bulldog Smith Farms on Instagram. You can message me there, and I've got several emails that I've kept because I have 2 different channels. I have a Christian kind of history, all that kind of stuff channel, more political stuff, and then this is kind of fun, knives, guns, um, it's cool stuff, farming, just whatever. I'm doing. And my other channel's DannyLink's Calling, and I do, you know, Bible studies on there and just talk about faith, stuff like that. But yeah, just email me anytime. BullDogSmithFarms@gmail.com. And when I get in over there to check, I'll email you back. Oh, okay. Right now it is 8:55 p.m. So it's almost 9 o'clock p.m. So it's dark. It's nighttime here. It's bedtime. I'm old now. Um, and so it's probably daytime where you are. Gosh, let me guess. Um, let's see. That'd be about 8 o'clock there. Golly, you're a long way away. Is it like midnight there or something? Um, it's kind of hard to keep them separate because I talk about my faith all the time. It's just natural. Like I'm not really like, you know, um, evangelizing on the here, but I just talk about my faith, because it's important to me. But on the other channel, and it's my name, my first name's Danny, DANNY. My middle name is Link, LINK, and it's Danny Link with a S at the end, LINKS, and Calling, CALLING. And I do some Bible studies over there. I'm going to have some of my preacher friends on to do some interviews and stuff about their life, but then also like helping to teach the Bible um and then put my kind of view of things on top of their solid, you know, scholarly kind of knowledge. Oh, it's 7:30. See, I was about wrong. I was like, I bet it's like almost opposite. Like you're literally almost on the other side of the world. Like literally. Like China is literally the other side of the world. When I was a kid, they always told us if we dug a hole deep enough, we'd reach China. And we believed them. Yeah, I mean, you're 7:30, 8:30, hour and a half difference. So you're like 10 and a half hours difference from us. You're just getting ready to start your day, and I'm ready to end mine. But yeah, man, email me and or Instagram me, whatever, and and come check out when I'm live. Check out my shows. I do not mostly on here. I'd mostly show pocket knives, show knives, and stuff like that. Today I talked about some stuff's going on in the knife industry right now. So you know, I'm kind of I'm just trying to be myself and just talk to people, you know. Oh yeah, I love having you. And the military stuff too. I love it. I've got several friends that actually remember more of it than I do. My memory's kind of faded, but I've got several friends that make knives, and they make their knife kind of based on their military experience. So, but man, have a blessed night, and and uh, and do contact me. I tell everybody that, and I'll get back with you, and I will see y'all next time. But you remember, keep your powder dry and your blade sharp, because we're living in some perilous times, y'all. And I will say, until next time at Bulldog Smith Farms, God bless all of y'all. And I'll see you later. Bye. And I can't remember how to end it. Close.